What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 9AK Chapter 216 Heading to Ryuchi Cave, Uchiha Madara and Tsunade. Advertisement, no, he is not. White Snake Sage shook his head and said, the reincarnations of Ashura and Indra of this generation have already appeared. I already know the names of those two people, and they are still in Konoha. They are definitely not Uchiha Kagami. In Konoha? Who is it? Uchiha Madara asked. The secret must not be revealed, I can't tell you. Okay, are you sure that the necessary condition for opening Rinnegan is Chakra's reincarnation? Is there no other possibility? Uchiha Madara said in surprise. There is another possibility, that is, the bloodline is extremely close to your ancestors, that is, Indra and Ashura. In this way, the descendants of the Sage of Six Paths are infinitely close. It is possible to awaken the Rinnegan without the reincarnation of Chakra. White Snake Sage said hoarsely. But the problem is that Senju and Uchiha have been passed down for thousands of generations. The bloodline has been diluted to the extreme from generation to generation. Your two bloodlines are actually like returning to your ancestors. And Uchiha Kagami's bloodline is very average. It can even be said that it is difficult to carry Hashirama cells. Logically speaking, he has no chance at all. Awakening even one Rinnegan is impossible. Then why is this happening? Madara said no, Sister Lee. At first he thought it was Rinnegan's awakening conditions. It's that the power of Uchiha and the Senju clan are combined, but White Snake Sennin told him that the necessary condition for awakening Rinnegan is reincarnation? Now the conditions for awakening Rinnegan. Chakra reincarnation is necessary and indispensable. There are not many people who want to return to their ancestors and look at the history of the ninja world. In fact, it can be seen from the fact that Black Zetsu has been struggling for thousands of years and has not found a suitable candidate to resurrect Otsutsuki Kagaya. Only Madara has done it for thousands of years, therefore, there are almost zero bloodline reversions. And Uchiha Kagami's bloodline is of average purity. How did she awaken the Rinnegan? I don't know either, I don't know much about him. White Snake Sage said leisurely. What I can confirm is that Uchiha Kagami is a person outside of destiny. His existence will bring unexpected changes and impacts to the ninja world. People outside of destiny? Aren't Hashirama and I? Uchiha Madara asked curiously. No, why? What do you mean by someone outside of destiny? Madara asked. The secret must not be leaked. The corners of Uchiha Madara's mouth twitched. For the first time, he found the riddler disgusting. Secrets can be leaked at every turn, so why don't you just stop talking to me about this in the first place? It's really annoying. However, I can reveal a little bit. White Snake Sage's eyes flashed. According to the trajectory of fate, Uchiha Kagami was supposed to die in 17 years, but he avoided this catastrophe of 10 deaths and no life, thus transcending and becoming an existence beyond fate. Every move he makes is unpredictable, and you and Hashirama have vague signs of transcending fate, but it's not enough. Whether you two can succeed is still unknown. Transcendental destiny? What is transcendental destiny? The secret must not be revealed. Then how can we escape fate? The secret must not be revealed. Nima and Uchiha held his breath. But he still didn't scold him, he was a well-educated person. But old Bidden really made the riddler the ultimate and refused to say anything. Advertisement. Seeing that he was in a bad mood, White Snake Sage smiled hoarsely and said, Uchiha Madara, I have actually revealed the secret to you today. I said too much, and it has not affected me well. I have been kind enough. Thank you, can you teach me the magic? Madara said impatiently. Can I thank you verbally? What else do you want? Couldn't you? Madara became wary. Don't think too much. After all, I've told you so much. Is it okay for you to give me a drop of your blood? White Snake Immortal smiled. A drop of blood? What do you want? It's a secret. Okay, give it to you. Uchiha Madara squeezed out a drop of blood. After the White Snake Immortal collected it, he squeezed out the immortal liquid. Uchiha Madara's talent was no weaker than Hashirama's. He learned domineering senjutsu on the same day and left Ryuchi Cave. After leaving Ryuchi Cave, Uchiha Madara thought secretly in her heart. Although White Snake Sennin seems to have said some nonsense, the information in these nonsense is very important. First of all, Uchiha Kagami is a person outside of fate, and he originally died 17 years ago. But I don't know what he did to escape the catastrophe, and thus became an unpredictable person, and there are some signs between him and Hashirama. It is actually not difficult to guess that it should be related to Uchiha Kagami. But it's not that easy to be the master of fate, and the news of Indra and Ashura's chakra reincarnation is also very important. It would be better if the next generation of reincarnation can be found, don't worry. Let's finish the other two magic arts first. Uchiha Madara leaves Ryuchi Cave. Not long after, Black Zetsu emerged from the corner. Reporting to Madara-sama, I have heard information about the Marshbone Forest. As the granddaughter of the first Hokage, Tsunade signed a contract with Katsuyu. We can enter the Marshbone Forest through Tsunade. And Mount Myoboku is Sanin Jiraiya. According to my speculation, Uchiha Kagami should have realized the true, infinite senjutsu, through the Shikbone Forest and Mount Myoboku that these two people entered. Where is the person? Have you found the location? Madara asked. We found out that Tsunade is addicted to gambling and likes drinking. Now she is gambling and drinking in a tavern in the Land of Fire. We can go directly to her door to find her and enter the Wetbone Forest, Black Zetsu said respectfully. TCH, Is such a person worthy of being a descendant of Hashirama? It's really an embarrassment to Hashirama. Let's go now to see this old friend. Uchiha Madara smiled disdainfully. The moment when Uchiha activates the space ninjutsu. I made a space jump and came to the tavern. When I entered the tavern, I saw a beautiful woman. He has yellow hair and long white thighs on the stool. Brave and heroic, upright. Come on, keep betting. I will definitely win this time. I'm done with my purchase. I'm done with my purchase. Uchiha Madara looked her up and down. He shook his head, and his expression couldn't help but become sarcastic. Hashirama's descendants are really inferior to each other. They are addicted to gambling. And are also drunkards. It is really embarrassing for him to be thrown into his grandma's house. Leave me alone, huh? Uchiha Madara? Tsunade was about to reply. Turning around, I saw Uchiha Madara with black hair. Tsunade's expression suddenly changed, and he suddenly felt as if he was facing a formidable enemy. He looked ugly. What are you doing here? You were defeated by Uchiha Kagami. And you dare to come to our country of fire? Are you really not afraid that he will deal with you again? Chapter 217 Katsuyu Sage. Non-relationships are not allowed to teach immortal skills. Advertisement, haha. Who have I been afraid of? I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Take me to Shigu Forest. What are you going to do? Wait, you want to learn senjutsu? Don't even think about it. I won't let you succeed. Tsunade gritted his teeth. It's not up to you. Chakra surges from Uchiha Madara's body. Half of the body was shrouded in Susanoo, and the chakra blade in his hand suddenly swung. A sting. The entire tavern collapsed instantly. The earth was shattered into pieces, and the powerful force was so terrifying. One blow severely injured Tsunade. A trace of blood spilled from the corner of Tsunade's mouth as he was about to use Baihou technique. But, the next second, Uchiha Madara's pupils focused. The Mangekyō's eyes suddenly rotated, completely hypnosising her. Then he passed Tsunade smoothly and entered the marshy bone forest. Countless towering trees stood tall, and the huge Katsuyu sage stared at him. Are you also here to learn magic? That's right, I'm here for ultimate immortal technique, Madara said bluntly. Do you know the secrets of my Shigu forest? My method of teaching is different from Ryuchi Caves, which teaches everyone who comes. Katsuyu Sennin said straightforwardly. Hashirama helped me back then, and I also took good care of his descendants. Uchiha Kagami is Senju Tobirama's younger brother. So he is also Hashirama's younger brother. My ultimate magic will not be spread to outsiders, do you understand? Oh, interesting. Uchiha Madara has heard a little bit about it. Ryuchi Cave welcomes everyone, no matter who they are. As long as you pass the 3 major trials, you can teach the magic. If you can't stand the backlash of the magic, you will be reduced to a sacrifice and eaten. And the rules of Mount Myoboku seem to only be passed down to those who are destined. And Shigulen. To put it bluntly, we don't teach it to people who are not related to it. Uchiha Madara thought for a moment and said seriously, I am not an outsider. Hashirama and I grew up together. We experienced chaotic times and finally created Konoha together. If we really want to talk about relationships, I am the closest person to Hashirama. Uchiha Kagami is just a relationship. Logically speaking, I am the one who should be taught senjutsu. But you and Hashirama have broken up. Katsuyu Sennin was not fooled. No, that's not a strict word. Uchiha Madara said seriously. Hashirama and I just have different ideas. He doesn't recognize my ideas, and I don't recognize his ideas. But our goals are the same, and we both want peace in the ninja world. We just have a temporary quarrel, and Hashirama has also been influenced by Uchiha Kagami, and he is no longer so womanly. When the ninja world is completely peaceful, Hashirama and I may sit down and have a drink. So the talk of a breakup is completely nonsense. Oh, these words are quite novel and don't look like lies. Katsuyu Sage looked at him and said in a gentle tone, I can see through a person's mind. Uchiha Madara. You do regard Hashirama as your best friend. You are indeed not an outsider. I can teach you the magic of immortality. Thank you. The corners of Uchiha Madara's mouth curled up slightly. He was actually not surprised at all that he would be rejected. Especially when Katsuyu Sennin said that he would not spread the word to outsiders, he had already thought of how to persuade the other party. And what he just said, it's all sincere, maybe when Project Tsuki no Mi is completed. Infinite Tsukuyomi envelopes the entire world, and Hashirama, who has a body of filth, will not be affected, so it would be good to leave only the two of them as old friends. And he was under the guidance of Katsuyu Sennin. Entering the immortal pond, he began to understand the magic of Ge Immortal. This magical technique requires a long period of meditation. He learned the magical technique in about 7 days, and faint blue lines appeared around his eyes. Successful. How does my learning progress compare with Hashirama? Uchiha Madara asked. You are twice as fast as him. Ha ha ha, I am indeed better, Madara said proudly. It may also be related to your awakening Rinnegan. Rinnegan represents the eye of the immortal, which is very consistent with nature to a certain extent. Katsuyu Sage commented. How about Uchiha Kagami and me? Hashirama and I are the best in the ninja world, so Uchiha Kagami must not be able to compare with us, right? Uchiha Madara guessed confidently. He is faster than you, he learned it in 1 day. Advertisement, farewell. Uchiha Madara's mouth twitched. Carrying the unconscious Tsunade, we are about to leave the marshbone forest. When Katsuyu Sage left, he warned unceremoniously, don't hurt Tsunade, otherwise, I won't let you leave here. Don't worry, I won't do that. She is a descendant of Hashirama. No matter how useless she is, I will not harm her. Uchiha Madara left. Katsuyu Sage looked at his disappearing back and chuckled in his heart. Under the influence of the mirror, Hashirama is no longer as innocent as before, and Uchiha Madara seems to have become different. Tisk tisk, Uchiha Kagami, what a magical person. Return to the ninja world. The next target is the third magical technique, Free Immortal Technique. According to White Zetsu's tracking, Madara quickly found Jiraiya, who was traveling in the ninja world during the holidays. As a Sannin in Konoha, Jiraiya suddenly broke into a cold sweat when he saw the visitor. Uchiha Madara, what are you going to do? Take me to Mount Myoboku. Impossible. Even if I die, I won't let you succeed. Jiraiya's pride. He was not allowed to surrender without a fight. He quickly formed seals with his hands while spitting out a large amount of flames. Fire-style Big Fire Bullet, a small skill, a sealing technique to absorb seals. Uchiha Madara raised her hand. He absorbed all the flames with a playful expression. Konoha Sannin, are you a little stronger than Tsunade and can you dance? I can play with you today. Okay, then wait for me for 5 minutes, can. Uchiha Madara looked calm. Jiraiya was relieved, knowing that Sage Mode might be useless. But how do you know if you don't try? If you don't go all out in the face of the enemy, is it still right to be called Sannin? Just 5 minutes later, with the blessing of 2 great toad sages, Jiraiya entered Sage Mode, but his feet and nose had a tendency to turn into toads. Sage Art Messy Lion Hair Technique. Jiraiya formed a clone. With a low drink, the white hair on the clone's head began to grow rapidly. Then he restrained Madara, who did not dodge, and stood up. Seeing this scene, Jiraiya felt a little happy in his heart. Okay, sure enough, he underestimated the enemy. By imprisoning his hand, he won't be able to absorb ninjutsu. One move will determine the outcome. Sage Art Gomon. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Jiraiya cooperates with the 2 immortals. He spit out the 3 escape techniques of wind, fire and oil. With the blessing of compound ninjutsu, the scale of the entire senjutsu increased several times, and it was about to fall on Madara. But, chakra surges from Uchiha Madara's body. Easily breaking free from the shackles of his long hair, he chose not to absorb the ninjutsu and used the more powerful fire style. Fire style. The fire is extinguished. Large swaths of flames filled the air. The incredibly huge scale is directly hedged. After suppressing all Jiraiya's magic, Jiraiya gasped and was about to struggle again, but a person suddenly appeared in front of him. Uchiha Madara raised her hand and clasped his neck, her tone becoming cold. The game is over, take me to Mount Myoboku, otherwise, your life will be in danger. Chapter 218 Uchiha Madara, well written, with illustrations? Advertisement, don't even think about it, even if I die, I won't compromise. You sure? That's right, Jiraiya looked determined. However, his body trembled. A small book with a yellow cover fell down, with 4 big characters written on it, Paradise of Relatives. Jiraiya's expression immediately changed, and a deathly expression appeared on his face. Don't pick it up, don't look at it, don't open it. Huh? Are you so worried? I want to read Sannin's masterpiece? Uchiha Madara picked up the book, glanced at it briefly, and couldn't help but look joking. I didn't expect. You are so unruly. Xiaohuang's writing is quite good, and it also has illustrations? Jiraiya. Oh, he is very social now. He is very social and wants to get into the ground. If it were a junior or a peer, he actually wouldn't care that much. But the problem is that Uchiha Madara is still considered an elder. Although they don't know each other at all, Madara is an old man from Shodai's era. Even so, it also gives people an unspeakable embarrassment. With that kind of embarrassment, he wished he had died just now, and the book never fell. I asked about you before I came here. Uchiha Madara smiled calmly. Intimate Love in Paradise is your best-selling work, and it is very popular with everyone. Your illustrations are very good. I haven't touched a woman in so many years, and it has caused some waves. Jiraiya, how many years have you been writing books? Pornographic books like this? What a pornographic book, this is an artistic creation, Jiraiya corrected. Created with illustrations? Believe it or not, I will give this book to Hashirama right now and let him see what his descendants look like now. Uchiha Madara deliberately provoked. No, never, Jiraiya was completely panicked. If you want to go to Mount Myoboku, I will take you there. As long as you don't tell Lord Hashirama about this book, I will do whatever else you want. He who knows the current affairs is a hero. Wouldn't it be better if he knew the current situation earlier? Uchiha Madara smiled slightly. Of course he has no interest in Jiraiya writing such pornographic books. But he found that Jiraiya was very smart. He would rather die than cooperate, and his eyes never met his. In this case, some other means are needed, and Jiraiya took Madara to Mount Myoboku. With the hostage being held hostage, Toad Sage didn't care about only passing it on to destined people, but still taught free senjutsu to Uchiha Madara. After 3 days of learning magic, Uchiha Madara takes Jiraiya back to the distance. Let's go, Jiraiya. Huh? You won't kill me? Why? Jiraiya wondered. For the sake of Uchiha Kagami, of course. Me and you juniors are actually too lazy to be serious. As long as you know the truth, you can live. When I create a new world with infinite Tsukuyomi, you will also enjoy it. Uchiha Madara pouted. He dropped Jiraiya and just left. My book, please give me my book back. No, this is my book. As a junior meeting an elder, shouldn't I give him a greeting gift for the first time? Uchiha Madara doesn't care how he reacts, just left, leaving Jiraiya alone in the wind. But in his heart, he thought that the other party was a ruthless person who would kill people at every turn, but now it seems that there is something different from what he thought. Actually, for Uchiha Madara, he is definitely different now than he was then. Advertisement, especially after White Snake Sage told him, he began to pay attention to Uchiha Kagami. In the past, he had no opponent, especially after defeating Hashirama, he became invincible. But when he had an opponent again, even when he is a strong opponent, Uchiha Madara's fighting spirit will be aroused, and except for Uchiha Kagami, he will not look down on him. Therefore, as long as they know each other, he will not kill people casually. Of course, on the other hand, although he doesn't know how to get rid of his fate, since Jing is the only one who can do it, then he may know how to help him, and it may be a good choice to leave a little margin for himself. Back to Kirigakure, Uchiha Madara begins to comprehend infinite senjutsu. And with his talent, he realized success in just half a year. Ha ha ha. I succeeded. I succeeded in comprehending it, and I surpassed Hashirama and comprehended a stronger immeasurable senjutsu, which is at the same level as Kyo's senjutsu. Ha ha ha, I surpassed myself, I am stronger. Next time, let me see how you dance. Uchiha Madara laughed arrogantly. At this time, his eyebrows and eyes were covered with immortal facial makeup. What is different from Hashirama's senjutsu is that the sun between his eyebrows contains the symbol of the moon, which is the same as Uchiha Kagami's infinite senjutsu. But he is a double Rinnegan, stronger than Mirror. The magic he can perform will also transcend a level, and he is very confident that he will avenge his past humiliation. Of course, this is not actually because Hashirama is not talented, but because Hashirama lacks the power of Uchiha. If he had the Sharingan of the Uchiha family. If both of them are combined, the magic of immortality will transform sooner or later. Madara-sama, do you want to take action now? Black Zetsu asked, ready to make a move. No, the fight with Ching. I want to stay at the end, and I am only one step faster, I want to be 2 steps faster than him. Uchiha Madara showed a confident smile. The collection of tailed beasts has begun to progress, starting with Shukaku of Sanagakure. After I become 10 tails Jinchuriki and transform into 6 paths, it will be the final stage for me in Mirror. I want to give him a big surprise. Yes, Madara-sama, Black Zetsu, Setsuna, and Wei were all very excited. Only Kabuto looked the same on the outside, but his heart became more and more depressed. It seems. I have to go back. Report this urgent news to Master Jing. As a double agent, he didn't actually have to stay in Kirigakure, so he found an excuse and went back to Konoha. Konoha village. Uchiha tribe land. Patriarch's courtyard, Uchiha Kagami lying on a chair. Nagato had a metal sword under his feet, wandering back and forth at an altitude of about 10 meters, smiling from time to time. Haha, teacher. I can fly again. This Mangekyō's ability is very easy to use. I think I have basically mastered it. Not only flying, I have also developed many moves, such as sword formation and so on. Not bad, keep up the good work. Uchiha Kagami smiled and said, but you'd better come down. You're too eye-catching flying in the sky like this. You can fly to the back mountains wherever you want. Okay, teacher. Nagato walked down obediently. Just as he was about to say something, there was a rapid knock on the door. After receiving permission, Yakushi Kabuto walked in, looking anxious and flustered. Master Jing, it's not good. Something serious is going to happen. Chapter 219. Speculation on the strength of Otsutsuki's first style, the second 10 tails? Advertisement, Madara has learned the 3 great celestial arts, and also comprehended the same infinite celestial arts as you. According to his description, he is now stronger than you, Kabuto said anxiously. So fast? I underestimated Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Kagami is still very calm. I'm a little surprised, I didn't expect Madara's progress to be so fast. In fact, he originally thought that Hashirama was in the village, and with his own intimidation, he would not dare to come and seize Hashirama's magic. But what I never expected was, he actually found another way and found Jiraiya and Tsunade. And he learned the 3 major immortal arts at a very fast speed, and realized the infinite immortal arts that are at the same level as his own, and it seems that it has only been half a year. It is enough to show how talented Madara is. If I didn't have a plugin, I might not be able to learn the 3 major immortal arts, let alone the higher levels of infinite immortal arts. I'm sorry, Master Jing. Seeing that the mirror was silent, Yakushi Kabuto said in shame. I shouldn't have revealed the location of Ryuchi Cave to Madara, even if he just lacked 1 senjutsu. Such a thing will never happen to Kabuto. Uchiha Kagami shook his head without blaming. It's okay, I don't blame you. I told you that although you are lurking among them, those people are more sophisticated than the other, and it is easy to observe whether others are lying or not. And it is true that Orochimaru and you have been to Ryuchi Cave. You can find out with a little investigation. If Madara knows the inside story, and finds out that you knew about Ryuchi Cave but did not report it, he will definitely kill you. It doesn't matter. I've said it, we still have a chance. Thank you, Master Jing. Kabuto said. Has he said anything about his next plan? Jing asked. He said it's almost time to start collecting tailed beasts, but the specific implementation time has not yet been determined. I have only joined them for the shortest time. Maybe they won't tell me, so you should make preparations early. Kabuto said respectfully. Indeed, I have already prepared for it. Uchiha Kagami looked at Nagato and ordered, Nagato, You send people from the Akatsuki organization to keep an eye on Sanagakure. Once you find out that they are taking action, report it to me immediately, and you must snatch Shukaku back immediately. Yes, teacher. That. Nagato hesitated. What's wrong? Why don't we take action directly? Catch him off guard. Once we wait for them to take action, we may be a step slower. Nagato worried. I know, but that's all we can do. Uchiha Kagami took a deep breath, and finally told Nagato. Because once Uchiha Madara and I go to war, a battle of this level will definitely spread to the entire ninja world. By then, someone may take advantage of it. Who is it? Aren't you and Madara the strongest? Who can intervene? Nagato asked. The Otsutsuki clan. Mirror said. Otsutsuki? Teacher, didn't you say that the Otsutsuki clan is still outside the world? Even if they come to the ninja world, it will be decades later. Nagato asked doubtfully. Nagato, in addition to the Otsutsuki clan outside the sky, there is also Otsutsuki in the ninja world. Moreover, he has lived for thousands of years and has been silently watching the movements of the ninja world, although he may not be in a good condition now. Uchiha Kagami looked slightly condensed and said, I may not interfere in the battle between me and Uchiha Madara, but I am not afraid of anything else. This person's strength is unfathomable. I know too little about him, so I may not be able to defeat him. What? There is another Otsutsuki lurking in the ninja world. Nagato and Yakushi Kabuto were both stunned. My pupils were shaking, and I didn't know how to react. Advertisement. Yes, that person's name is Otsutsuki Ishiki. Uchiha Kagami looked at them and said slowly, when the Otsutsuki clan came to the ninja world in a group of 2, they used 10 tails to plant a sacred tree to devour the ninja world, produce the fruit of the sacred tree, and ripen the sacred tree. It was to let 10 tails eat one of the Otsutsuki, thus sacrificing the ripening sacred tree to produce chakra fruit. However, Otsutsuki Kagaya, as a servant, temporarily switched sides and attacked Otsutsuki in a sneak attack, which almost succeeded. But Otsutsuki was half eaten in the first move, and the remaining half of his body shrunk and escaped with a special ability. However, Otsutsuki's injuries in the first move were too serious. When he was about to die, he met a monk named Shion. And he carved a wedge on his body and lived on in a parasitic way. Soon after, the brain equipped with only Shion did not die, and the Otsutsuki 1 style also infiltrated for thousands of years. Is this person so scary? Half of his body is gone. How can he still survive? Kabuto took a breath. Teacher, no wonder you were so afraid of him. What should we do now? We can't just sit back and wait for death, right? Nagato asked. I know, but the timing is lacking. Uchiha Kagami frowned. The Otsutsuki Ishiki now uses Shion's body. However, Shion's body is not strong enough to carry the Otsutsuki 1 style, so a more perfect instrument is needed to carry it. The current strength of Otsutsuki 1 style is not complete, so logically speaking, it is an excellent opportunity to kill him. And judging from Boruto's performance, the strength of Otsutsuki's first style is actually very average. Boruto Den wants to highlight the protagonist after all. As relics of the old era, it is normal for the 2, Narusa, to be weakened. Otsutsuki's ability to defeat him with first style does not prove how powerful he is. But what if it's 6 paths Narusa? With that kind of explosive power and strength, to be honest, he doubted that Otsutsuki might be able to win with certainty in one move. Maybe if he was truly resurrected as Otsutsuki, then he might have a slight chance of winning, or even a small chance of winning. This is not because he was bragging about 6 paths Narusa. But Otsutsuki can be seriously injured by Kaguya's sneak attack in one move, which is really too bad. You must know that Kagaya had not eaten the fruit at that time, and Kagaya, who ate the fruit of the sacred tree, as the ancestor of chakra, had an overwhelming pressure. On the other hand, Shion's body was resurrected after the end of his life in the first move. He didn't show how awesome he was, and was even played to death by Kawaki. This is simply embarrassing and embarrassing at Grandma's house. And Otsutsuki Kagaya is not worried even if he eats the fruit. In fact, it is still out of fear of the Otsutsuki clan. On the one hand, it is also due to lack of confidence in one's own strength. Maybe the Otsutsuki clan is really strong, but the Otsutsuki 1 style is really a bit weak. At least, Uchiha Kagami guessed based on the painting style. It's just that things like painting style cannot be used to infer results. If someone is just rubbish in their painting style, but is actually very good, then wouldn't he be serving food if he went up there? Therefore, it would be better to be a little stronger. It is best to be at 6 paths level or above to be safe. But the problem is that there is only 1 Rinnegan now, and the missions have to be completed without completing any of them. When the 9-tailed beasts are gathered together to form 10 tails, there is only 1. Madara cannot become 6 paths on her own, and she has no chance of defeating Madara now. Etc. Uchiha Kagami's eyes suddenly lit up. It seems that we really don't have to keep an eye on the 9-tailed beasts. Because, there really is a second 10 tails in the ninja world. Chapter 220. A new mission arrives. Steal 10 tails larva. Advertisement. Then the question comes. Uchiha Kagami scratched his head. How to get 10 tails? I don't know where that guy is hiding. He is still on Otsutsuki Ishiki's territory. It's really a big problem to steal it. In The Legend of Boruto, Otsutsuki possesses a white 10 tails, although its origin is unknown and its size is not large. It also looks very much like the incomplete 10 tails larva, which is very different from the 10 tails formed by the fusion of the 9-tailed beasts. But this is actually normal, because the 10 tails possessed by Otsutsuki Ichiki are the 10 tails larvae of the Otsutsuki clan that have not yet eaten. Ten Tails needs to eat Otsutsuki to cultivate it into a sacred tree fruit. The improvement brought by eating the fruit is huge. Otsutsuki Kagaya made a sneak attack and let the Ten Tails larva eat half of its body. After an unknown number of years, he cultivated the fruit. Kaguya's strength skyrocketed after eating the fruit of the sacred tree, ending the war on the earth, that is, in the ninja world. Therefore, she is known as the goddess of Mao by the world. Not long after, with the blessings of the people, she gave birth to 2 sons. They are Sage of 6 Paths Otsutsuki Hagoromo and Otsutsuki Hamura. They were not conceived with humans as in the anime TV, so there is no doubt that they are pure-blooded Otsutsuki clan. And, Sage of 6 Paths is very powerful. It may not be much weaker than Otsutsuki Ishiki, it may even be worse. Why do you say that? Because according to his speculation, the Byakugan represents the bloodline of the Otsutsuki clan. As for the eyes other than Byakugan, including Rinnegan, in fact, the Otsutsuki clan was opened by eating the fruit of the sacred tree. One of the most typical representatives is the founder of Chakra, Otsutsuki Kagaya. And their 2 sons. One inherited the Rinnegan, which represents the power of the fruit, and the other inherited the Byakugan of the Otsutsuki clan. Why do you say? Both of them are pure-blooded Otsutsuki clan. Because the source of their power is both Otsutsuki Kagaya, but the former inherited the Rinnegan with the power of the sacred tree fruit, and the latter inherited the Byakugan of the Otsutsuki clan in a blank slate state. And Otsutsuki Jinshi is actually similar to Hamura. Both of them only have Byakugan and no other power, and the former is just a servant of Momoshiki and is not qualified to eat the fruit. Without Rinnegan, his power is naturally weak. So much so that he was teased by Sasuke, and fought and suppressed by the 5 shadows. As for the Sage of 6 Paths, which represents the sage body and the immortal eye, the power of these 2 is not possessed by the ordinary Otsutsuki clan who eat the fruit, so the Sage of 6 Paths is definitely stronger than the ordinary Otsutsuki clan. On the other hand, Otsutsuki 1 style. As for Momoshiki, their Rinnegan actually awakened after eating the fruit. However, the Otsutsuki style does not have a Rinnegan, but his golden right eye and left eye are different and can activate a special ability, Xiaoming Vagana. It may also be caused by eating special fruits in the past. And the Otsutsuki 1 style in this state, even if it is fully resurrected, it is difficult to evaluate the odds of winning against the Sage of 6 Paths in its heyday, and it is even more impossible to crush it. At this moment, Uchiha Kagami began to think in his mind, if this is the case, I can let the 10 Tails larva eat the Otsutsuki style to catalyze it into a sacred tree, and then I can eat the fruit of the sacred tree to evolve into one comparable to Sage of 6 Paths. Exist. But the Otsutsuki Eye style is very powerful. Even if it is not in good condition, it cannot be competed by people below the 6 Paths level. So it's safer to steal 10 Tails first. The incomplete 10 Tails larva should also allow me to transform into 6 Paths. It's just that this improvement in strength may not be that significant. Thinking of this, advertisement. Suddenly, the system prompt sounded in my mind. Open black lens bracket ding. System hint. Close black lens bracket. Favorability mission. Successfully steal white 10 Tails larva. Close black lens bracket. Rewards. Normal Rinnegan, single eye Otsutsuki Kagaya's favorability plus 20, chakra 2000 points. Damn it, come just as you say. Uchiha Kagami was overjoyed. The mission has finally been updated. If you successfully steal the white 10 Tails larva, you can collect both Rinnegan. Then this mission must be done, and it must be successful. Teacher, what's wrong with you? Are you so happy? Nagato asked curiously. Think of happy things, Uchiha Kagami ordered. You go ahead and do your work. I have important things to do. Yes, teacher, master mirror. Kabuto and Nagato didn't ask further questions. He left very wisely and waited until they left. Hashirama walked out of the room and was a little surprised when he saw the excited Uchiha Kagami. What's wrong? Third brother, are you so excited? What happened? I have something very important to tell you. I plan to steal 10 Tails. I want to be the first to become 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Uchiha Kagami said. What, are you sure? Senju Hashirama suddenly became anxious. Didn't you say it's not time to start the war yet? The young people of Konoha haven't grown up yet. Is this too hasty? Why don't you wait a little longer? No, I'm not talking about the 9-tailed beasts. Ah, then what are you talking about? Brother, do you still remember the Otsutsuki clan I told you about? Mirror asked. Of course I know. Didn't you say that the founder of Chakra is Otsutsuki Kagaya? Even Sage of 6 Paths is only his eldest son, including Black Zetsu, who is also the son of the founder of Chakra, and we are her descendants. Senju Hashirama said. That's right, when Otsutsuki Kagaya came to the ninja world, he was actually accompanied by another person. That person was Otsutsuki 1 style. Otsutsuki 1 style has a higher status than Kagaya. Kagaya was originally going to be sacrificed to the young 10 Tails and cultivated into a sacred tree. But Otsutsuki Ichiki was almost seriously injured by Kagaya when he was unprepared. He is still in the ninja world, except for these 9-tailed beasts. He also has a 10 Tails hatchling that I think can be stolen. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Words by Uchiha Kagami. Senju Hashirama was a little confused. He thought there was only one 10 Tails in the world. After all, as one of the pinnacles of the ninja world, he has never seen 10 Tails with his own eyes, so he can't really imagine what 10 Tails is like. But, after explanation by Uchiha Kagami, he just understood everything. 10 Tails on Earth. In fact, it is equivalent to Kagaya to a certain extent. It is a sacred tree cultivated by swallowing half of Otsutsuki, and the Otsutsuki that ate the fruit is also equivalent to 10 tails. And the 10 tails in Otsutsuki's style can only be regarded as a sapling of the sacred tree. Senju Hashirama became worried. Even though the 10 tails larva is very weak, you also said that Otsutsuki's one style move probably won't let you take away the 10 tails larva, and he may be stronger than you and me. Third brother, it's too dangerous for you to go like this. I don't recommend you take the risk. Chapter 221 Resurrection of Senju Tobirama. The Shady Second Hokage. Advertisement. Brother, Uchiha Kagami said in a low voice. I know you are worried about me, and I wouldn't want to take risks in the past, but now I have to do this. I know that Otsutsuki's strength is unknown, and I may not be sure to win against him. But do you know what kind of person I am? Even if I can't defeat him, I'm sure I'll escape unscathed, and I have follow-up plans that will never make you worry. Please don't worry. If it were normal, Uchiha Kagami definitely doesn't want to meet Otsutsuki Ashiki. After all, it's just a single Rinnegan now, and with the blessing of immeasurable senjutsu, it's actually just a smidge better than Hashirama at his peak. But the problem is that the task has been refreshed. And the reward is the second Rinnegan, so there's no reason not to go. Although the mission has no time limit and can be planned for a while, this mission definitely requires a risk. Then I'll go with you. Hashirama said solemnly. No, big brother, you have to stay in Konoha. Uchiha Madara may start a war at any time. When I'm not around, you need to stay in Konoha. But, what should you do? I'm worried. Oops, my brain is not very clear. If only that guy Tobirama was here. Wait. Senju Hashirama struggled. Suddenly he had a flash of inspiration. Third brother, resurrect your second brother. Huh, now. That's right, resurrect now. Senju Hashirama's expression leaves no room for doubt. Uchiha Kagami was also a little confused, but after thinking about it carefully, he understood. Yes, you know my personality is like this. I don't really think about many things that much, but Tobirama is different. Senju Hashirama said in a serious tone. He is very deep, has a good brain, and is also scheming. He is full of twists and turns, and he will definitely help you come up with a brilliant plan. Right. But the second brother said he wanted to rest. Have a rest. Isn't this the time for an emergency? Senju Hashirama cursed loudly. I don't ask for any help from him in terms of strength. I can always borrow his brain, right? That's it. Mirror, am I the eldest brother, or are you the eldest brother? Huh. Yes, eldest brother, then resurrect the second brother. Uchiha Kagami said cautiously, but the second brother has a bad temper, and I am still afraid of him. If he gets angry, I will say that you resurrected me. Okay, if he gets angry, I'll beat him. Okay, Uchiha Kagami didn't hesitate either. Now that the elder brother has spoken, I have no reason to refuse. Moreover, Tobirama's second brother is indeed a good thinker. Although he is not bad at all, when it comes to conspiracy, he is really not as good as his second brother. But this matter is a big deal after all. Uchiha Kagami still plans to let other Konoha Kage participate. So he called Minato and Orochimaru, and after briefly revealing the situation, both Minato and Orochimaru expressed no objection. Resurrection begins soon. First impure world reincarnation, then Rinne Tensai technique. Why do this? Because the cost can be smaller. Impure world reincarnation has summoned the soul, and the body is not the original body. He only needed to use the Rinne Tensai technique to resurrect his body, so the load could be smaller, so he clapped his hands. Impure world reincarnation. Rinne Tensai. Advertisement. Snap. With the activation of the technique, Senju Tobirama's coffin stands tall. Before the coffin board could be opened, a faint white glow appeared inside. Rinne Tensai was obviously at work, and Uchiha Kagami also counteracted the side effects this time with the aura, and the coffin board happened to fall down. Silver hair, red pupils, and 3 red marks on his face. With a cold face, someone opened his eyes, looking slightly confused. Where am I? Wait, third brother. Senju Tobirama couldn't help but lower the corners of his mouth. You resurrected me. I already told you to let me rest for a few years. I feel like I just died not long ago. Why did I come back to life? I'm really disobedient. Snapped. He was hit on the back of the head. The huge force made him stagger, and he almost fell into a trap. Who the hell dares to hit me? I am the second Hokage. Are there people in Konoha village so reckless now? They are really disrespectful. Who is disrespectful? Senju Tobirama turned his head. When I saw the familiar face of my elder brother, I was surprised and frightened. I'm sorry, brother, I'm disrespectful. I can't hit you. Abel, Konoha is already very dangerous now, you still want to rest. Are you still shameless? Tobirama, you are letting me down now. Senju Hashirama scolded. Ah, Konoha is in danger. What's going on? Senju Tobirama immediately asked. Before I died, Kagami's strength had surpassed mine, and he also defeated the 5 shadows. He is not much weaker than Madara back then. Unless Madara is resurrected, who can beat him? But Madara has been resurrected. Hashirama said quietly. What? Damn Madara. Snapped. He was slapped on the back of the head again. Senju Hashirama's expression was not very good, and he reminded her slightly. Madara just took the wrong path. Maybe we can become friends in the future, and there are juniors here, don't be so presumptuous. Oh okay, I know. Senju Tobirama rubbed the back of his head. The force felt amazing, and he soon realized something. It hurts so much. Impure world reincarnation won't feel pain, right? Damn it, I'm resurrected. Really resurrected. Yes, I resurrected you, second brother. Uchiha Kagami smiled and said, with Rinne Tensei technique, now I also have Rinnegan, and I have developed Rinne Tensei without side effects, so you are truly resurrected now. As expected of your third brother, haha. Sure enough, I saw you right. Senju Tobirama is happy. His cold face patted Jing's shoulder. After everyone chatted for a while, they briefly introduced the fourth Hokage, whom they had never met before, and then discussed important matters together. This is the situation now. Senju Hashirama sighed and said, the third brother is determined to steal the Otsutsuki-style Ten-Tails larva. As the eldest brother, I can't persuade him. Tobirama, please persuade him, this is really a bit risky. I roughly understand, third brother, are you sure? Tobirama asked. Half and half, 50%. Jing said, 50%, such a high probability, then it must be stolen. Senju Tobirama immediately said excitedly, more than 10% is enough to take risks. When I used to study forbidden technique, a probability of 1% is considered very high. If it is more than 50%, why should I give up? No one can take away this Ten-Tails larva. I said so. Senju Hashirama. Circle.operator. Oh circle.operator. Chapter 222 Looking for Ten-Tails larva, somewhere in an unknown alien space. Advertisement. You kid, are you looking for a beating? Senju Hashirama raised his right hand and said fiercely, I told you to persuade my third brother. If you don't object, why don't you still support me? Don't think that since there are juniors here, I won't dare to beat you. Master second generation, I also feel that it is very dangerous. Minato looked worried and said, although I don't know how strong the Otsutsuki style is, I know from the teacher's description, this person is not something that people above the six paths level can handle at least. I think we need to think about it in the long term. Orochimaru said hoarsely, although it is indeed a bit risky, I don't think Uchiha Kagami is the kind of person who makes trouble. As long as we make a perfect plan, it may not be successful. I think we can give it a try. What are you trying? Hashirama was anxious. I know you are in a hurry, brother, but don't be anxious yet. Senju Tobirama looked slightly condensed and said, first of all, we have to consider the risks and rewards of this matter. First of all, with this Ten-Tails larva, even if only the third larva have Rinnegan, they can become Ten-Tails Jinchuriki. The creature Ten-Tails is very special, and I am also very interested in it. If it is left to Orochimaru to study, there may be great benefits. Besides, let's talk about the risks. Are the risks higher than the benefits? No, at most it's death. Uchiha Kagami said nonchalantly. What? The risk of death is not high. Hashirama was stunned. No, the risk of death is the smallest. Brother, you forgot, I can use the Rinne Tensei technique without side effects. Uchiha Kagami said. But if you die, who will perform it for you? We don't know how to do it. Hashirama frowned. Madara will. No, you asked Madara to resurrect you. He is selfish and never considers others. It is difficult for this plan to succeed. Tobirama also disagreed a little. No, I think there is a high probability of success. Uchiha Kagami shook his head. Uchiha Madara just wants to collect the nine-tailed beasts and become Ten-Tails Jinchuriki first, and after his last battle with me, he has long been prepared to meet me again when I am at my peak. Fight once. That is, when we were all six paths, it was impossible before, but now there are two Ten-Tails. Even just one Ten-Tails larva is barely enough, if I really fail. Then Uchiha Madara has no opponent. But as usual, he will definitely not be resurrected. After all, it will consume my vitality, but it's different now. After he dies, I can resurrect him again, and he will definitely agree. Minato was shocked. Is this okay? Orochimaru said. As expected of you, Kagami. Senju Hashirama. What the third brother said makes sense. Madara is actually not that interested in me anymore, especially after the last defeat. Now that Madara has been defeated by you, he will definitely challenge you again. But if you die suddenly, he will definitely feel very uncomfortable. It's like a piece of flesh is missing. From what I know about Madara, he is a person who is unwilling to be lonely, so this plan is really feasible. Senju Tobirama's eyes flashed. FK. Madara resurrected you from death, and you resurrected Madara again. No, if that's the case, you can resurrect without any scruples, why don't you let me and my eldest brother take the risk? We're dead. What's the big deal? Can't you just resurrect us? And if you can't steal it once, then twice, 3, or 4 times, 8,800 times. I don't believe it, and you can't steal the Ten-Tails larva. Second brother, your idea is okay, but there are risks. Uchiha Kagami shook his head. First of all, as I said just now, death is the smallest risk, but the question is what if you don't die? As far as I know, Otsutsuki Ashiki has a sealing technique, and that sealing technique is very strong. No one below the six paths level can solve it, including me, but no matter how powerful the Otsutsuki style is, I have the blessings of the Flying Thunder God technique, Rinnegan, Eternal Mangekyō, and the Senjutsu Dead. It's impossible for Otsutsuki one style to kill me in an instant. I have enough time to commit suicide, but you can't. Once sealed by Otsutsuki one style, there is no way to resurrect. I can't do it either, third brother. Hashirama frowned. Advertisement. Brother, your strength is not as good as mine, but compared to the entire ninja world, except for me and Uchiha Madara, you are the strongest. Logically speaking, you will not be easily sealed. Uchiha Kagami said seriously, it's just that I haven't come into contact with Yi Shi. I can't measure his upper limit of strength, so I have to go this time, and I can only go. After I confirm the opponent's strength, I steal 10 tails. We will make corresponding follow-up plans. Of course, if we can steal it quietly, it would be best not to fight with Yi Shi. Okay, that's all. Senju Hashirama clenched his fists. There seemed to be some unwillingness in his heart. This was the first time he had such an emotion. After all, as the number one person in the ninja world, now he still needs to be protected. This feeling is indeed a bit uncomfortable. You still have to become stronger than before. After making a plan for a while, Senju Tobirama frowned and said, what about Madara? Who should we go to? Or, wait until the plan fails. Let's wait until the plan fails. Jing shook his head and said. Where's the candidate? Big brother, he is the most suitable. Also, Mirror and Tobirama said a few words. He made a rough plan for the next step, and Tobirama was very smart. Especially when I heard that 10 tails was extremely large, I asked Obito and his mirror to take action together. If it really succeeded, it would be really convenient for Obito to store 10 tails in a different space. And Tobirama, also to prevent the period when the mirror is not around. Konoha is attacked by Uchiha Madara, replenishing a large number of plans. But after several months, Uchiha Kagami still had not found the location of the 10 tails larva, which made him feel a little depressed. Where did Ashiki hide the 10 tails larva? Uchiha Kagami was puzzled and thought to himself, I can't sense the existence of 10 tails using Sage Mode, so there is only one possibility. Ashita hid the 10 tails larva in a different space somewhere. But, where is this different space? First of all, what can be determined is that it is definitely not a different dimension of Mangekyō. First of all, although this magical alien space can store objects, it is different from Obito's alien space, which can only store dead objects. Therefore, 10 tails is in some unknown other dimension. Therefore, Sage Mode cannot be sensed. You must know that even if 10 tails is only a larva, it can be regarded as one of the chakra-like origin energies like Earth 10 tails. Naruto in Sage Mode senses 10 tails. It's like sensing the world itself, so this goal is extremely huge. Even the larva of 10 tails should be quite obvious, but now they are imprisoned in an unknown alien space and cannot sense it at all, so their difficulty has skyrocketed. Obito asked. Uncle Jing, what should we do now? Chapter 223 10 tails larva. Destroy it quickly, I'm tired. Advertisement. This 10 tails larva hasn't grown up yet, so it's not that big. Uchiha Kagami touched his chin and said, there is a high probability that Otsutsuki will hide him in a relatively remote place. Let's go search the sea outside of Water Country. There may be some traces there. Understood. Obito nodded. The two activated the time and space ninjutsu and soon arrived at the sea. This is a large sea area hundreds of kilometers away diagonally above the Kingdom of Water. On the vast sea, the two of them searched little by little. Speak the truth. This is no less than finding a needle in a haystack. Especially since the 10 tails larvae are still locked in a different space, it is even more difficult to find them. Unless you are lucky, you will not be able to find them in a short time. A few more months passed, and the two of them searched aimlessly. Until one day, in a very distant direction, there was sudden fluctuation. Is there someone? Hurry, hide, go to your other dimension. Okay. Obito didn't dare to neglect. His eyes suddenly focused and the space became distorted. The two entered the different space at an extremely fast speed, and at this moment, a dark black hole began to appear outside. Tisk, tisk, tisk. As the black hole circulates, a person is wearing a white feather fabric. A man in a black cloak walked out, with a black crystal on his abdomen. There is a red belt tied around his waist, there is a diamond-shaped pattern on his chin, and half of his hair is bald with a long braid in the middle. This person is none other than. It is Ji Xian, the parasite of Otsutsuki style. Si Xian looked around for a long time. Suddenly his expression became fierce and he shouted loudly, I know you are nearby, get out of here. Aren't you coming out yet? I'm going to take action. I really want to take action. Quote. Si Xian is very domineering. The momentum was even more astonishing, as if he had seen through everything. But no one showed up after a long time, so Si Xian breathed a sigh of relief, muttered a few words and left. It seems there is really no one left. Quote. With Si Xian leaving. After a while, the space became distorted. Obito breathed heavily, with lingering fears. That person just now was Otsutsuki-style parasite. I thought this person really saw through my Kamui, and he was almost exposed. HMPH, it's just as I expected, this guy is bluffing. Uchiha Kagami curled his lips and said, the traces of time and space ninjutsu are not so easy to detect, unless there are marks like Flying Thunder God. And your Kamui activation will not leave any traces, and Si Xian will never find it. In fact, he was shocked just now. They all thought they were exposed, but they felt something was wrong. After all, Kamui can even invade Otsutsuki Kagai's Hiruzen, and Kakashi even used the Kamui Shuriken to injure Teru Yoruichi. With both eyes in focus, there are really not many people that Obito can keep if he wants to escape. This kind of time and space ninjutsu. Unless you see it with your own eyes, it is difficult to detect traces. As he expected, this guy was bluffing, and he might do this every time he came out, which made his impression of Yishi somewhat different. But, Uchiha Kagami's eyes flashed. This guy appeared from here, so the alien space hiding the 10 tails larva is probably here. Obito, maybe I can help you inject chakra and find the location. Uncle Jing, I'll try it alone first. Can. Obito's eyes focused. Advertisement. I kept searching and soon found the location. Found it. Right here. Kamui. Okay. Come on. Uchiha Kagami put her arm around his shoulders. The space became distorted, and the two of them disappeared in the next second. Soon, space was distorted again. The two walked out, and what they saw was a huge altar. The white and silver metal altar has a circle of black lines connected on the surface of the platform, with a black magatama pattern in the middle, which looks a bit similar to Rinnegan. And to the right of the metal altar, a wall was erected, with two circular patterns distributed in the center of the wall. The top is the horizontal single horn of Otsutsuki, and the connected pattern below is the vertical double horn of Otsutsuki. Both sides of these two patterns are vacant. It's obvious. It has not been engraved or branded yet. Obito felt his heart tremble when he saw it. Uncle Jing, what is this altar and the pattern? Is it related to Otsutsuki? Yes, this represents the two current Otsutsuki of Earth. The one below is the founder of Chakra Otsutsuki Kagaya, and the one above is the Otsutsuki Ashiki who just left. Uchiha Kagami took a deep breath. He raised his hand and placed it on the group at the bottom of the middle. The ravines above were glowing with red light, and the corresponding magatama display on the altar. A figure slowly appeared, sometimes illusory and sometimes real. Pale skin and hair, with long hair that extends beyond her body. His eyes are a pair of white eyes, his features are pretty but full of oppression, he has two horns on his head, and he is dressed in Otsutsuki's magatama white feather fabric. Be careful, Uncle Mirror. Obito's expression changed. Don't worry, this is all fake. Ah, it's fake. Then what's the use of this pattern? I don't know. It may be that the person who recorded Otsutsuki's arrival on Earth in one form may have something to do with his subsequent plans. Uchiha Kagami shook his head. According to his impression, this pattern has three groups. The middle group represents Kagaya and Ashiki, while there is a group on both sides representing Otsutsuki Golden Style and Otsutsuki Peach Style. I don't know who the remaining group is because the third group of patterns was destroyed. No matter, take away 10 tails and let's get out of here. Jing said in a low voice. Okay, Uncle Jing. The two of them walked under the altar. After walking around the pillars supporting the altar, I saw a huge creature. This is a white 10 tails, one size larger than 9 tails, but far smaller than the size of 10 tails on Earth. But, even if it's just a 10 tails seedling, it also made Obito shudder at the side. Uchiha Kagami didn't hesitate, raised his hand and pulled out the black stick that imprisoned 10 tails. 10 tails was about to burst out roaring. Imprisoned for thousands of years. Although 10 tails had no wisdom, anger also welled up in his heart. The two humans in front of him will be his meal, but the man in front of him has his right eye turned into the eternal Mangekyō, and his left eye turned into a Rinnegan. Quiet down, 10 tails. Don't make me slap you. Whoop. Uchiha Kagami's eyes widened. Sha Li had an amazing sense of oppression and a force field. He just pushed it to the ground, unable to move even if it struggled. All wipe. 10 tails was completely confused, and felt very suspicious of Obi. I was actually suppressed again. Or by a human. Now that the Otsutsuki clan is so pervert, humans are still so pervert. Destroy it quickly, I'm tired. Chapter 224 Uchiha Kagami of Shion. A certain way of shock. Advertisement. It's really weak. There are no surprises with Uchiha Kagami. This 10 tails is just a sapling of the sacred tree, equivalent to a baby. But even in its infant state, it is much stronger than 9 tails, but it is not as good as the 10 tails that gathers the 9-tailed beasts. Even if the big brother comes, he can easily suppress this 10 tails larva with the Myojin Gate. Obito, take it. Yes. Obito rolled his eyes. The space twisted and swallowed 10 tails. In order to facilitate the next visit, Uchiha Kagami carved the Flying Thunder God spell in the shadow of the corner of the altar, a place that is very difficult to detect. Then, the two used space ninjutsu and left. Appearing on the sea again, Obito suppressed his excitement. Uncle Mirror, is this a success? Isn't it too easy? I thought. We stole 10 tails, what would happen to alert that Otsutsuki Ashiki? I thought it would be like this, but Ashiki seems to feel very safe about this alien space, but that's normal. No one in the ninja world can directly enter other alien spaces except you. Uchiha Kagami praised him. Although my Flying Thunder God activates very quickly, first I need to have the Flying Thunder God spell to enter the different space. As expected of Kamui, escape to save your life is the best. Hey, Uncle Jing is so complimentary, let's go back quickly. Cannot go back. Obito hasn't finished speaking yet. I saw Uchiha Kagami's expression slightly condensed. Obito followed his line of sight and saw the monk just now, walking slowly towards them from a short distance away. It's over, he was discovered. He didn't leave. Obito was panicking. Calm down. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Uchiha Kagami gave him a reassuring look. Looking at Shion in front of him, he considered for a moment and said, this unknown eminent monk is blocking our way for some reason. Do you want to ask for alms? We are the ninjas of Konoha village, we can provide you with meals. Oh, I don't need it. Shion's heart was cold, but his expression was full of doubts. I would like to ask, what are you ninjas from Konoha village doing here on this sea? Why are you coming so far away, for what? This has nothing to do with you, right? Do we still need to explain to you what we Konoha ninjas are going to do? You seem to be taking a little too much care, but you, a monk, can actually use chakra. Uchiha Kagami said deliberately. You are a bit strange. What is your name? Which temple are you a monk in? Have you registered? Now all monks in the ninja world must register. If you have not registered, go to the major ninja villages to register. Full of flaws. That nervous kid next to you has been exposed a long time ago. Die. Shion raised his hand and waved it. More than a dozen black rods appeared out of thin air. But was easily avoided by Uchiha Kagami, while Obito was even simpler. He didn't even need to dodge, he directly used Kamui Hollow to defeat the opponent's attack, and the three of them faced off 100 meters apart. Penetrated. What kind of technique is this? Shion's expression was slightly condensed, and he was surprised in his heart. You are also very fast, Uchiha Kagami, the #1 person in the ninja world today does have some strength. It's normal to be avoided by Uchiha Kagami. But the little brat next to him, no, he can't be considered a brat. But considering that he has lived for thousands of years, it doesn't make any difference to call them all brats. Just now, he instantly shrank the black stick with Sheoming Pigu, but he was actually dodged by a young brat. This made him feel a little unhappy. Advertisement. He had investigated some information about Obito, and thought that the opponent's time and space ninjutsu was nothing more than that, which was used for convenience when traveling. But I didn't expect that I could still dodge his attack. Only, even with his high self-esteem. To be honest, I really don't think it is a single skill, Obito's time and space ninjutsu. He was able to quietly enter the alien space where Ten Tails was hidden, so he didn't suspect anything. Obito seemed relaxed, but actually his palms were sweating. It's so fast. It's so fast that my Mangekyō Sharingan can't catch it. If I hadn't used Kamui Hollow on my body before I took action, otherwise, I would have been seriously injured even if I didn't die from that blow. He narrowly escaped an attack. Obito did not dare to take any other actions, but looked at Uncle Jing beside him. Uchiha Kagami waved his hand. Go back. Obito, your mission is completed, leave this place to me. Yes, Uncle Jing. Obito's Mangekyō spotlight. The body changes from hollow to solid, and the eyes begin to flow. The time and space jump activated by both eyes is very fast, even Six Paths Madara's truth-seeking ball can't keep up with it at close range, let alone such a distance. Tisk, tisk, Shion's body just landed next to him. Obito's figure disappeared, and this moment also gave Mirror a chance to counterattack. I saw the eternal Mangekyō in his right eye suddenly spinning, and a black flame burst out from his eye and went straight to Shion's body. Amaterasu. Little tricks. The wedge on Shion's chin began to flow. The body and face were covered with black lines, and both hands absorbed it at the same time. Amaterasu was easily absorbed. Chua. Shion raised his hand and waved it. At close range, several black rods expanded rapidly. I thought that Uchiha Kagami couldn't avoid it, but even at close range, he was still easily avoided by the opponent. Moving speed. No. This is time and space ninjutsu. Shion felt a little bit tricky and thought to himself, Flying Thunder God technique. This technique is really fast. Wedge State 1, I'm afraid it won't be so easy to take down the opponent. You have to enter Wedge State 2. Yes, of course it's not complete with his current strength. Shion's body cannot fully contain the soul of Otsutsuki Ashiki. Therefore, in this state, any use of power will shorten his lifespan. He must find the most perfect vessel to carry his soul, and there is no need to worry about lifespan in order to be truly resurrected. Otherwise, if he has been living in obscurity for thousands of years, why doesn't he show up? As the wedge of the Otsutsuki clan, it is not possible to be resurrected indefinitely. His current wedge carries soul information. Even if the wedge can be carved on other vessels, it will only last until the life of Shion's body ends. So, he was about to be resurrected passively on Shion. And the lifespan of such a resurrection will be very short. Before he can find a substitute to carve that wedge, if he is killed, then he will truly die, so he must proceed with caution. What? Otsutsuki Ashita, you don't dare to take action. What are you worried about? Are you worried that your life will not be saved? Uchiha Kagami deliberately said sarcastically. You know me. Where did you know that? Shion's pupils tightened. Chapter 225 Shion, where's Ten Tails when I'm so big? Advertisement. There is no way to tell you, Otsutsuki Ashiki, oh no, I have to call you Shion now. After all, Otsutsuki Ashiki's soul has not been completely resurrected, so he cannot be called a real Otsutsuki. Uchiha Kagami smiled half-heartedly and said, I'm actually very curious. If you are really that powerful, how could you be successfully attacked by Kagaya? Or, are you actually weak to begin with? Shut up. The tradition of the Otsutsuki clan is that one person is responsible for guarding the sacred tree, and another person is responsible for sacrificing 10 tails. Even if Jinchiki and the others are eaten, they will not say anything. Who would have thought that a 25-year-old boy would appear? Kagaya is a traitor to my clan. Sooner or later, I will sacrifice her to my 10 tails and let her become the nourishment of the fruit of the sacred tree. Uchiha Kagami, You have angered me, you have already found a way to die. Wedge State 2 is on. Shion became furious. The black lines on his face and body suddenly deepened. The most important thing is that a horizontal horn grows on the top of his head, which is the obvious symbol of the Otsutsuki clan. From top to bottom, the breath is even more amazing. As Wedge's form too, it stimulates the power of Otsutsuki's first form even more, but it doesn't seem to be that strong. Boruto crosses Shion in this form. One kick destroyed Sasuke's complete Susanoo, and one punch penetrated Naruto's complete Nine-Tails transformation coat. But after all, he is not a complete Otsutsuki, and I am not Nasu in the non-six-path state. Why is it that this battle, the outcome is still unknown? Uchiha Kagami's eyes were slightly focused, and his heart was about to move. Of course he had deliberately provoked Shion just now, on the basis that he could be resurrected. If the power of Otsutsuki Ashiki can be weakened to the greatest extent, even if he cannot be forced to resurrect in Shion, then it is possible to weaken the second option to increase his lifespan. In short, it is not a loss. As for death, he was determined now. Unless Otsutsuki is completely resurrected in one move, he cannot kill himself. You must know that although his apparent strength seems to be below the six paths level, he has actually been strengthened by the system. With the blessing of the strongest body, his body is not as brittle as a ninja. Thinking of this, his left eye transformed into a Rinnegan. The scarlet Mangekyō with his right eye rotated, and the chakra on his body swept up. Hooray! The perfect Susanoo appears. Susan, who was several hundred meters away, was holding a sword in his hand, which was a sight to behold. Susanoo, double sword slashing. The blade fell several times in a row. Shion shuttled back and forth between the blades. His speed was several times faster than before. The complete Susanoo could not touch him at all, but Uchiha Kagami was not panicked. Is this your full strength? Susanoo, who has been passed down from generation to generation in the Uchiha family, doesn't seem to be very fast. What about defense? Let me see. Shion's figure suddenly disappeared. He directly shrunk his body under the name Vagana. And he kicked it with a speed that the naked eye could not catch, and went straight to the body defense crystal block above Susanoo's head. Boom. Click. Susanoo was kicked through. Uchiha Kagami flew backwards. It hit an island hard, and the smoke and dust made it difficult to see clearly. As expected, you are very weak. The strength of the number one person in the ninja world is also average. In this case, I'll just finish you here. Shion hasn't made a move yet. The smoke dispersed, revealing the figure of the mirror. There was only a white mark left on his body, not even blood. Uchiha Kagami dusted himself off. Is this all you have? Shion, you are really weak. How can it be? Shion's pupils tightened. The blow just now should be enough to seriously injure you, your body, no. Why is your body so strong? How can a mere human being be able to compare with us? Hehe. Uchiha Kagami smiled disdainfully. This is the awesomeness of the strongest body. You are indeed very powerful in breaking through Susanoo's defense, but if you are faced with my body that exceeds human limits, how should you deal with it? Advertisement. Uchiha Kagami disappeared. The Flying Thunder God technique activated and arrived in front of him in the blink of an eye. With a seemingly light punch, Shion crossed his hands to defend himself and was hit hard. Just listen. Click. There was a sharp pain in his arm, and Shion realized that the bones in his arm had cracked. Although it was just a broken bone, it was enough to shock and surprise him. Although the body of the Otsutsuki clan was average. But it's not comparable to humans, and the defense was actually broken. Although Shion has a human body, it has been blessed by his Otsutsuki clan, and it is definitely incomparable to ordinary humans. However, Shion did not panic, only a ripple in his heart. The murderous intent in his eyes became more intense, as if he was ashamed and angry at the broken arm. His feet were on the ground, and he rose into the air with his hands open, mobilizing Otsutsuki's power and preparing to unleash a more powerful blow. Uchiha Kagami, this person must be eradicated. Big box sky. Boom. Boom boom. Black cubes. It was instantly expanded by one move and fell all over the sky. The overwhelming weight made Uchiha Kagami look sideways. He no longer chose to hide his clumsiness, and his left eye turned into a Rinnegan. The moment I put my hands together, the infinite senjutsu is activated, and Uchiha Kagami's aura grows again. Sage Art Wood Style Laughing Buddha Jutsu. Click. I saw the sea floor trembling. Huge wood style hands stand up. In an instant, these black cubes were fully supported, and Uchiha Kagami clapped his hands, and the sky suddenly darkened. But it's not over yet. Sage Art Myojin Gate. Fang Fang. Fang Fang. Huge portals fell down. It was even more outrageous than what Hashirama had performed, and the scale was larger and the number was even more astonishing. Seeing that Shion was about to be suppressed, Shion raised his head and looked at the sky, his expression becoming increasingly grim. You forced me. You forced me. Then I will resurrect in Shion's body. I will kill you and make you regret living in this world. Quote. As soon as these words came out, Uchiha Kagami's expression became serious. Just as he was about to defend himself against the opponent's counterattack, something embarrassing happened the next second. Shion activated the space and turned it into a black hole. He fled like a bereaved dog. Uchiha Kagami was stunned for a moment. This made him a little surprised, he actually ran away. You, the Otsutsuki clan, have lost their face. Jing thought about pursuing him, but after thinking about it carefully, he decided to give up. Si Xian's poor performance just now was not entirely due to his weakness. But he didn't want Si Xian's body to be wasted, and he didn't want to be forced to resurrect. After all, he was an incomplete Otsutsuki, and his strength was definitely weaker. If he is pushed to the limit and really resurrects, it will be really hard to deal with. So he left too. After Si Xian left, he returned to a different space. He trudged onto the altar, bloodline dripping from the corners of his mouth. Si Xian's eyes were filled with anger, but when he found that there was nothing under the altar, he fell into shock. Am I him? Where's my big 10 tails? Chapter 225 Return to Konoha Village, 6 Paths Uchiha Kagami. Advertisement. Wait, is that the damn Uchiha Kagami? Stealing my 10 tails with that little brat. Ah, damn Uchiha Kagami, I'm going to kill you. Si Xian roared angrily, but after the anger passed, he calmed down again. Realization struck him immediately. It seemed that I was stupid, thinking that I couldn't find him in another dimension. And he was very confident that no one could sneak into another space, but he was found and 10 tails was taken away. Now, and Uchiha Kagami only deliberately stimulated herself at the beginning. Does this guy know the principle of wedge, and deliberately waste his life? If he really catches up, even if he wins with this imperfect weapon, he will definitely lose a lot of life. It's even possible that he was forced to be resurrected. If Uchiha Kagami fails to be killed, then this body cannot fully carry his soul data, and even wedge cannot save his life. And Uchiha Kagami is a very sinister guy. He also has unfathomable abilities, especially his physical body, which is so powerful that he even suspects he is stronger than Otsutsuki. It would be a disaster if the car overturned after a pursuit like this. Never mind. Si Xian endured it, and his face gradually darkened. It doesn't matter if 10 tails is lost, you can find it again anyway. 10 tails can't be destroyed anyway, and that Uchiha Madara seems to be collecting tailed beasts too. Are you planning to become 10 tails Jinchuriki? These two people must have a battle. When the time comes, I can control the left-hand language and take away my 10 tails, and let the sacred tree bear fruit again and eat the fruit of the sacred tree. But I kept the account, Uchiha Kagami, and Uchiha Kagami. He slowly left the sea and found that no one was pursuing him. There is not much surprise, after all, Otsutsuki has survived for thousands of years without appearing. Before he finds the perfect weapon, he cannot risk his own life. And in his mind, at this time, the familiar mechanical sound of the system was also heard. Open black lens bracket ding. System hint. Close black lens bracket. Favorability mission completed. Successfully stole white 10 tails larva. Close black lens bracket. Rewards. Normal Rinnegan, single eye Otsutsuki Kagai's favorability plus 20, chakra 2000 points. Now that the 2 Rinnegans have been collected, it's almost time to go back and give it a try. Uchiha Kagami is very satisfied. With the Flying Thunder God technique, it was soon back to Konoha village. When Senju Hashirama and Tobirama saw that their third brother was safe and sound, they immediately felt relieved. How is it? How strong is Otsutsuki Ashiki? A bit strong, but not that strong. Uchiha Kagami considered. The opponent's method is very simple, maybe because there is no Rinnegan, but he can shrink his body, people can't detect his aura, and his speed is also very fast. The body of Otsutsuki Ashiki has one white eye and the other eye is golden. First of all, his magical powers are Sheaming Vagana and Dakala. The former can shrink and enlarge objects. You can only shrink yourself, but you can't enlarge it. The latter has a different space that can summon the shrunken object and enlarge it instantly, even a cup. When enlarged in the same proportion, the weight is no less than a mountain, while the reduced object, such as the black rod, is faster and difficult to deal with. Advertisement. That's it. Hashirama scratched his head. Yes, that's it, Uchiha Kagami said in a low voice, but the reason why I was able to escape unscathed is mainly because my physical strength is very strong. Of course, my elder brother's is not weak either, and his recovery power is even more amazing, so those black stick attacks are difficult to have a miraculous effect on us. But it will cause a fatal blow to others. If there is no recovery ability at all, I am afraid that one blow will cause death or injury. However, the second brother has the Flying Thunder God technique, so he can barely cope with it. But it's still not enough. We need to become stronger. What do you say? Tobirama asked. Because the Otsutsuki Ashiki couldn't bear to part with Ji Xian's weapon, which is Ji Xian's body, so when he fought with me, he didn't actually mobilize much power, so he can't be considered a complete Otsutsuki clan. Uchiha Kagami said with a leisurely expression, but even if he is completely resurrected, his strength is actually not as strong as imagined. If I transform into 10 tails Jinchuriki and become the second sage of 6 paths, even one move cannot defeat me. Great, isn't 10 tails done? Try it now, Tobirama said excitedly. Let's observe it first. Uchiha Kagami shook his head. This 10 tails is different from the 10 tails in the ninja world. Because it has not eaten Otsutsuki, it can only be regarded as a sapling of the sacred tree. The 10 tails in the ninja world was differentiated by the sage of 6 paths and divided into the 9-tailed beasts and the 10-tailed shell Gedo statue. If it is fused with the sacred tree, it is actually equivalent to Otsutsuki Kagaya. And the 6 paths 10 tails coffin seal technique. It is a technique that reabsorbs 10 tails, the combined body of the 9-tailed beasts, and becomes 10 tails Jinchuriki again. As long as there is a Rinnegan, it can be done. But the problem is, although this 10 tails larva has not been divided into 9 parts. And it doesn't belong to this planet either. Can I still use this technique to absorb 10 tails and become 6 paths? It should be possible, right? Since the name is 6 paths 10 tails seal, if there is no way to absorb other 10 tails, then why not just call it 6 paths earth 10 tails seal? It could also be, old man 6 paths didn't think about there being other 10 tails. Uchiha Kagami no longer speculates. Directly under the leadership of Obito, he entered the Kamui space. Looking at the helpless and furious white 10 tails larva, Uchiha Kagami stood on top of its head, and his hands suddenly formed a seal. With a thought, his eyes transformed into Rinnegan. 6 paths 10 tails coffin seal. The moment this technique is activated, the white 10 tails roared violently. It could feel a dangerous aura, but it was of no use at all. Its body began to penetrate into the mirror's body. It turned into a pure white sphere. The sphere is like crystal, giving people a holy atmosphere. Click, click, click. The sphere shattered, like crystal feathers shattering. His whole body turned white, including his hair, and he was dressed in a feathery coat. There is also a Magatama pattern tattooed on the back that shows 6 paths. There is a 6-path scepter in his hand, and 9 truth-seeking balls appear on the back. It looks very similar to 6 paths Madara. But there are some subtle differences. The horns on the top of the head are not forehead protectors. And more like a natural horn of the Otsutsuki clan, Uchiha Kagami couldn't help but be surprised, but after the surprise, he was even more surprised. It actually succeeded. What's going on? It's just a 10 tails larva, and it's from another planet, but it can also become a 10 tails Jinchuriki. What the hell is going on? Chapter 226 Capturing One-Tail Shukaku, the Cold-Blooded Luo Sha. Advertisement. Fortunately, under his subtle perception, he understood the general reason. First of all, although the colors of 10 tails were different, but there is no difference in their nature, both being saplings of the divine tree, and he himself awakening the Rinnegan. And Rinnegan, it is the representative power of the fruit of the sacred tree. The power of both parties comes from the same source and can naturally devour 10 tails, but because the young 10 tails has not grown into a sacred tree, he can only be regarded as 10 tails Jinchuriki, rather than being equivalent to 10 tails itself, similar to Kagaya. It's clear with a simple formula. Kagaya equals sacred tree plus Otsutsuki plus sacred tree fruit earth. Otsutsuki Hagoromo equals Otsutsuki plus sacred tree plus Rinnegan, heredity of sacred tree fruit, white eyes. 6 paths Madara equals Rinnegan plus 10 tails, 9-tailed beasts plus Gedo statue, plus sacred tree. 6 paths mirror equals Rinnegan plus 10 tails, larva plus Gedo statue. The current strength of the 6 paths mirror. Of course not as good as 6 paths Madara. Especially since 10 tails is still a larva, the improvement will be even smaller. If 6 paths Madara improves by 10 times, then he estimates that it will only be about 2 or 3 times. However, this is not just the current situation, and it can be improved in the future. I am now the second 10 tails Jinchuriki. Uchiha Kagami thought secretly. Then I can also differentiate the 10 tails larva, but I need to differentiate it into 9 parts. I only need to differentiate it into the Gedo statue plus 10 tails shelled state. So, if I directly use Gedo statue, can I directly swallow the 9-tailed beasts? The answer is definitely yes, because 10 tails and 10 tails are both sacred tree saplings, there is no reason why they can't be swallowed. But 10 tails itself only eats Otsutsuki. You may not be able to eat the 9-tailed beasts, so you need to differentiate them, make a white Gedo statue, and then compete with Uchiha Madara for the tailed beasts. Whoever is stronger will be stronger. Thinking of this, Uchiha Kagami left raising his hand. Peel 10 tails out of your body with the 6 paths technique. And extracted the chakra of 10 tails, and gave it a shape similar to the tailed beast, which is just a huge ball of chakra. After eating the chakra, it differentiated into a white Gedo statue. As for 10 tails who must die after leaving Jinchuriki. What is this? Directly offset by the halo of losing every bet. With this kind of heaven-defying blessing, there is no reaction at all. Although the Gedo statue needs to be swallowed in order, it does not necessarily require the complete tailed beast chakra. For example, 9 tails and 8 tails only need part of the chakra in the end, and can also be integrated into 6 paths. Only, it will be slightly weaker. The same is true for other tailed beasts. What a pity. After differentiation, the Gedo statue alone accounts for more than half of the 10 tails larva. It's almost time to compete with Madara for the tailed beasts. Uchiha Kagami finalized the plan. I came out to discuss it with my eldest and second brothers and made a plan. After all, there is still 3 tails in Konoha. The tailed beast controlled by Shisui with distinguished heavenly gods has already acquired one. The 9 tails in Minato's body are not in a hurry for now. In the 4th ninja war, Minato may even appear on the scene. All that was left were the tailed beasts of the other ninja villages. Uchiha Kagami returned to the clan leader's courtyard and called Nagato. Teacher, do you have any tasks? Start capturing the tailed beasts. Nagato, go to Sunagaku and capture Shukaku. You don't need to talk to them, just come and snatch them away. Kagami said involuntarily. So direct. That's right, don't give Madara time to react. I understand, what about Scorpion? He has a grudge against Luo Sha. Nagato hesitated. Advertisement. Then just take him with you and don't delay the mission. Okay. Got it. Nagato doesn't talk nonsense either. The long sword behind him leapt up. He jumped up and flew directly through the air with a whoosh. As for whether Nagato will fail, this kind of thing will definitely not happen. Rasa is very weak. Even without Rinnegan, Nagato still has the blessing of Mangekyō and his years of teaching. He can crush him at will. As for Shukaku, even Rasa can suppress it, but Nagato can't. Sunagaker. At night, a boy. He had panda eyes on his face and was sitting in the corner holding a teddy bear. The teddy bear in his arms was given to him by his uncle Yoshimaru, and it was also the first gift he received after becoming the so-called one-tailed Jinchuriki. Especially after he became a monster. Only his uncle cared about him and soothed his young heart. Unfortunately, on the roof not far away, Luo Sha's face was stern, and his mouth was full of disgust. Trash, not even a tool. Even Shukaku has been unable to control him for so many years, and he often goes berserk. What's the use of him? Might as well change to another Jinchuriki. What do you think? Change to a Jinchuriki. Then Gaara will definitely die without Shukaku. Yoshimaru didn't want to face it, so he gritted his teeth and said, Kazekage-sama. Gaara is still young. I think there is still a long time to train. I believe that as time goes by, he will be able to control Shukaku. Time. Where did the time come from? Don't you understand the current situation? Luo Sha said coldly. The war will break out soon. The tailed beast is our most important weapon. We can't even control the weapon. How can we control the war situation? If I had known he was worthless, I shouldn't have let Gaara be born. Gaara is the culprit who killed his mother. Yoshimaru didn't dare to refute. And it's not just because of Shukaku that Rasa is so anxious. Instead, he was reinstated as the fourth Kazekage and was strictly controlled by the masked man, Uchiha Setsuna. And that person asked him to provide funds regularly. But where does poor Sunagaker get the money? He could only keep using magnet style to refine the gold in placer gold and hand it to him. But refining gold is also a laborious job. And it can't be refined much at all, so Sunagaker has no money to develop. However, due to the threat of Uchiha's momentary strength, he dared not speak out in anger, but he became more and more resistant in his heart. And Gaara is his chance to get rid of control. But in his eyes, he assassinated Gaara so many times, but Gaara went berserk every time, unable to control the tailed beast at all. So, he thinks Gaara has no value anymore. But under Yoshimaru's prayer, Rasa issued an ultimatum. You will be responsible for another assassination personally. I want you to die in front of Gaara, under such great emotional stimulation. I don't believe it. He still can't control Shukaku. If that's the case, then I will execute Gaara and let the right person become the one-tailed Jinchuriki. Chapter 227 Assassination of Gaara and Suppression of One-Tail Shukaku. Advertisement. Yes, Kazekage-sama. Yoshimaru didn't dare to say anything. He lowered his head silently, covering up the sadness in his heart. As a member of the village, he could not disobey the Kazekage's orders, and as a ninja, he had to absolutely obey his vocation, so he went straight to the rooftop opposite, intending to complete the last mission of his life. And at this moment, on the railing of the rooftop, Gaara is holding the little bear. He didn't even notice someone approaching from behind, and kunai flew towards him one after another. Phew, whoosh. But the sand coalesced. It turned into a shield to resist the suffering. The ninja with the white mask behind him didn't seem surprised, and walked straight towards Gaara with a kunai in hand. Come to assassinate me again. Again, come to kill me. Gaara's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He turned around and raised his right hand, and a large amount of sand rushed towards it. Rolling up the masked assassin, Gaara's little hands clenched tightly, and the man vomited blood, and the bones in his body were crushed. Puff. Yoshimaru fell to the ground. The whole person was already dying, and it was obvious that he would not live long. The moment Gaara walked up and took off the mask, he was stunned and his fingers couldn't stop trembling. Yoshimaru, why do you want to assassinate me? Didn't you say that you like me the most? Didn't you say that as my mother's brother, you would always be with me? Yoshimaru's eyes flashed with hatred, and blood oozed from the corner of his mouth. That's all a lie to you, Gaara. I don't like you at all. My sister died because of your dystocia. How could I like you? Quote. I hate you the most. You are the most annoying person. Is this the reason why you assassinated me? Gaara's heart was trembling. Absolutely, but mainly because of Lord Kazekage's order. He asked me to assassinate you. He wanted to test whether you were worthy of continuing to live. You were transplanted into Shukaku before you were born. Yoshimaru said intermittently. As the one-tailed Jinchuriki of the village, you were born and destined to live alone. But such a life requires a little value, but now your value is not reflected at all. Your father also hates you. He hates you for killing his wife. I hate you too. I hate you for killing my sister. If you have lost even your final value as a weapon to the village, then your life will end here. What about mother? You said, this sand is a reflection of mother's love for me. She loves me, and I still have someone to love me. Gaara had tears in her eyes. No, your mother doesn't love you either. Yoshimaru shook his head. This sand is the embodiment of Shukaku's power. This is not your mother's power. She doesn't love you at all. She also hates you for taking her life. She hates you as much as your father. Me. Gaara bit her lips. He never imagined that his father had been responsible for the assassination all along. It turns out that he has never understood why he, as a monster, has never been understood or liked by others. It turns out that his father did all this. He wants to become a weapon in the village. And my mother doesn't love herself. Now, he became a loner. No one to rely on, everything is fake. The emotional stimulation caused him to burst into tears, and countless sand swept up, carving the word, love, on his forehead. Blood trickled down her forehead, but Gaara didn't care at all. Just then, Gaara's eyes turned into copper bells. The moment Yoshimaru's life ended, Shukaku went berserk at this moment, and countless amounts of sand condensed into a huge monster like a tanuki. And above Shukaku's head, is the sleeping Gaara. Ha ha ha, I'm here again. Advertisement. As soon as Shukaku appeared, he immediately shouted excitedly, this is the 6th time. I have come out for the 6th time. No one wants me to go back this time. I will destroy this village. Ha ha ha. Did you still fail? Gaara, worthless stuff. Rasa stood opposite Shukaku. At the foot is a tall sand gold tower rising. His eyes were filled with disappointment for Gaara, but he knew that the top priority now was to suppress Shukaku and prevent him from running wild in the village. Magnet-style sand gold. Luo Sha raised her hands. Large amounts of placer gold continue to emerge. Shukaku is about to be trapped, but Shukaku is not a good person either. You again. You suppressed me 5 times. This time Shukaku-san wants you to know how powerful I am. Wind-style practice blank bullets. Shukaku opened his mouth. While sucking in the air, it turned into an air cannon. Boom. Poof. Air cannons are powerful, easily blow away large amounts of placer gold. But Luo Sha had already expected it, and while dancing with her hands, she gave a low shout. Alluvial gold burial. In an instant, a huge amount of placer gold rises into the sky. In the blink of an eye, it swept through Shukaku's entire body. No. Tailed Beast Bomb. Shukaku wants to cast Tailed Beast Bomb. But it was too late. Luo Sha took action too quickly. And there was no sense of probing from the moment he made the move, and he directly used almost the strongest magnet-style technique to wrap Shukaku tightly. And, in a few seconds, it turned into a sand gold pyramid. Since placer gold is denser and thicker than sand, this move is several times more powerful than Gaara's sand burial. Poof. Huge placer gold pyramid. Shukaku was firmly pinned 200 meters underground. And with the extremely powerful pressure, Shukaku was directly crushed into sand, and Gaara also woke up at this time. As the suppression finished, Lord Kazekage is so strong. Kazekage-sama is awesome. You are indeed the 4th Kazekage-sama. Much stronger than the previous 4th generation. Stop talking about that traitor who studies human puppets. Quote. The villagers were all excited. They sneered at the previous 4th Kazekage. Of course, this is also because Scorpion and 3rd Kazekage have done almost nothing, and Luo Sha can refine gold after all, so that the village is not so poor. This alone, it was enough to make the villagers feel grateful to Luo Sha. As Gaara came to his senses, Luo Sha slowly approached and saw the bloody word, love, on his forehead. Instead of feeling distressed at all, she became more and more disgusted. You hurt yourself. What do you want to express? Do you want others to love you? Gaara, you are just a weapon for the village. I've seen it all. I don't want anyone to love me. I only love myself. Gaara looked grim. Love yourself. Only if you have value. Luo Sha criticized him mercilessly and said in a cold tone, as a weapon of the village, you don't even have the power to control Shukaku. What qualifications do you have to love yourself? How many resources has the village invested in you? Can you just love yourself? What a selfish and worthless waste. Chapter 228 Nagato. Please call me, Uchiha Nagato. Advertisement. Quote. Gaara clenched her fists. There was a trace of stubbornness on the young face. Then you kill me. Haven't you always wanted to kill me? Because I killed my mother, you hate me, hate me. Now I'm not even worth making a weapon. You kill me and replace me with a Jinchuriki. Isn't this what you want? You think I don't dare? Luo Sha's eyes were gloomy. You dare. What are you afraid of? Luo Sha, you let my uncle approach me deliberately to please me and make me mistakenly think that someone cares about me. Gaara's eyes were filled with numbness, but you ordered him to assassinate me and then tell me the truth. Everything is false. She hates me just like you, just like my mother. Rasa, I can't control Shukaku, then let someone else do it. My life or death doesn't matter, and I don't ask you to pity me. In your eyes, I'm just a worthless waste. Isn't it? Quote. Yes, you are indeed a waste. Luo Sha's heart was still cold. But he hesitated, not because of the relationship between father and son. Anyway, he has never treated Gaara as his son since he was born, and the same goes for Gaara. And the reason why he hesitated was, changing Jinchuriki is not that simple, and changing it may not be successful. You must know that Terasa, as the 4th Kazekage, learned the magnet style of the 3rd Kazekage, and is almost a genius ninja well known in the village. Although he experienced some twists and turns during this period, he finally regained everything he had. And Gaara, as a descendant of the 4th Kazekage, cannot control Shukaku. Can anyone else do it? It's not necessarily true for other villages. But the embarrassing thing is, as Shukaku's alternatives, there really aren't many. As for the method of controlling tailed beasts, he thought he was right. After all, the main reason why the tailed beast went berserk was that Jinchuriki's mood swings were too great, and he kept stimulating Gaara to get him used to his mood swings, so that Shukaku wouldn't take advantage of it. And couldn't Gaara be turned into a murder weapon? And myself. You can also get rid of the control of the masked man. But now it seems that Gaara still can't do it. The waste may really be a waste, but maybe the main reason is that he is too young. Why don't you wait any longer? Just when Luo Sha hesitated, a joking voice came from high in the sky. It's really a loving father and a filial son. Rasa, even if you control Shukaku, what can you do? In the eyes of my teacher, tailed beasts are nothing more than toys. Who? Luo Sha suddenly became alert. He looked up and saw an astonishing scene. I saw a red-haired young man stepping on a huge metal sword, and standing behind him was also a red-haired young man. Nagato from the Akatsuki organization, and Scorpion. You traitor, how dare you come back? Traitor. Luo Sha, you are the biggest traitor by assassinating the teacher who was the third Kage. Today I am here to take revenge. Xie said coldly. Haha, Scorpion, you are too weak, you are no match for me. Luo Sha smiled arrogantly, but she became wary in her heart. This is not right, although scorpions are nothing. But Nagato is not a weakling. If the two of them join forces, it will be difficult for him to deal with it. And what is their purpose of coming to Sunagaku? Why did the two of them come alone without any warning? Is it for Shukaku? Xie, you deal with Luo Sha. I'm going to capture one-tailed Jinchuriki. Shukaku just went berserk and took away the opportunity. You hold him back. I'll help you soon. Advertisement. Okay, leave it to me, as expected. After Nagato gave some instructions, Scorpion went straight to Rasa, while Nagato went straight to Gaara. It's broken. Stop it. Magnet-style golden sand waves. Luo Sha's expression changed. He wants to focus on stopping Nagato. But it was no use at all. Xie quickly rushed over. But the opponent actually did not use his puppet technique, but raised his hands, and chakra was mobilized instantly. Magnet-style sand iron wave. Stab. In an instant. A lot of red sand iron. It kept emerging, turning into waves and colliding with each other. A large amount of Akame sand iron and placer gold collide. The scene is very spectacular. This made Luo Sha's pupils shrink immediately, and she cried out in horror. Magnet style. You actually also mastered magnet style. Do you really think you are a genius? Luo Sha, today is your burial place. Scorpion's eyes became cold. The two faced each other from a distance, but they were ready to go. Luo Sha didn't have time to be shocked. He didn't want to lose Jinchuriki, so he attacked with all his strength without any intention of hiding his clumsiness. The two of them went back and forth and gradually fell into a stalemate. It was extremely difficult for Luo Sha to restrain Sha, let alone stop Nagato from approaching Gaara, which made her feel a little anxious. The opponent's target is indeed Shukaku. Damn masked man, didn't he say he would always be staring at this side? The other party has already taken action, why hasn't he come yet? Just when he was anxious. Suddenly, the space twisted. Before Nagato approached Gaara, a man walked out from the opposite side, with half of his face covered in scars and a head of black hair. Uchiha Setsuna, you are here as expected. Nagato was not surprised. Yeah, you actually took the lead. This is something I didn't expect. Uchiha instantly showed regret. Madara-sama's strength is now the best in the ninja world. Last time Uchiha Kagami was lucky enough to win against him, but this time he is not so lucky. He should delay as much as possible. Improve your strength as much as possible, otherwise Rinnegan will not be able to defeat Madara-sama. This situation is not good for you, Nagato. This is a mirror that saved me once. My sincere advice to you. You still know that my teacher saved you. Nagato stared at him and said in a bad tone, you want to deal with me. It seems that my teacher saved a white-eyed wolf, Shukaku. I must get it, no matter who the enemy is, I will show no mercy. Quote. Me too, for Madara-sama, everything can be sacrificed. Uchiha looked into his black eyes for a moment, shook his head and sighed. It's just that you lost Madara-sama's Rinnegan, and now you are unknown. How did you win Uchiha? How did you win Mangekyō's me? Give up, I can spare your life. No, you are wrong. I not only have a first name but also a surname. What's the meaning? Nagato said with a look of pride and confidence. I have married into the Uchiha clan a long time ago. I also married 2 wives. How can I be anonymous? Your wording is seriously wrong. I have a name and a surname. Please call me, Uchiha Nagato. Uchiha Setsuna. Circle.operator O circle.operator. Chapter 229 Ninja Technique 10,000 Swords Return to the Sect. The Contest of Mangekyō Sharingan. Advertisement. Uchiha Nagato. Uchiha couldn't help but sneered. Nagato, even if you have the name of the Uchiha clan, but without Sharingan, how can you really be called Uchiha Nagato? That's ridiculous, Nagato. Who said I don't have a Sharingan anymore? Nagato's eyes suddenly condensed. The dark eyes turned into 3 Magatama, and scarlet eyes were revealed. Uchiha's pupils suddenly tightened, and he couldn't help being shocked. You actually have a Sharingan. And your Sharingan can actually be turned on at any time. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. If you transplant someone else's Sharingan, it will never be closed and a large amount of chakra will be consumed at any time. Could it be that you are an orphan left behind by my Uchiha clan? But, it's not right. Nagato's red hair is too conspicuous. He is definitely a descendant of the Uzumaki clan, how could he be a remnant of the Uchiha clan? No comment. Nagato sneered. This is not a transplanted Sharingan. It is a Sharingan clone based on Uchiha's cells. Of course, it can be turned on and off at any time. Nagato, even if you have Sharingan, you will not be my opponent. Without Mangekyō, you have no idea how powerful the Uchiha clan is. But before I activate Mangekyō, I want to see if your eyes can bear the name of my Uchiha clan. Fire Style Great Fireball Technique. Fire Style Great Fireball Technique. Both mobilize the chakra at the same time. Open his small mouth and spit out a large amount of flames immediately. The flames turned into intense fireballs and collided fiercely. The two continued to use a variety of dazzling ninjutsu, and continued to test and compete. But, it didn't take long for Setsuna to fall into a disadvantage. Because even though Nagato lost Rinnegan, after years of teaching by Uchiha Kagami, he has mastered more ninjutsu than usual. Coupled with his increasing age, Nagato's strength has improved by leaps and bounds. Uchiha couldn't take down Nagato without using Mangekyō in an instant, so he decisively activated Mangekyō Sharingan. Now, I activate Mangekyō, how do you deal with it? Susanoo breaking the sky, Uchiha shouted in an instant. Amazing chakra surged from his body. Advertisement. The pale white body of Susanoo was shrouded in Uchiha. In an instant, Uchiha held the sword and slashed at the opponent. A sting. Such a sharp attack. Before it even got close, all the surrounding houses collapsed. But Nagato had already expected it, and the Sharingan of the three Magatama suddenly spun and also transformed into a strange shape. Ninja technique. Sword control. Nagato thought silently in his mind. As he opened his hands, the ground suddenly shook. Countless iron ores were crushed and turned into huge metal iron swords. The size of the iron swords was as big as Susanoo's half body. Clang, click, click. The moment the attacks from both sides came into contact, the huge metal flying sword began to shatter, but the huge power was conveyed. At the same time, Susanoo's half body was pushed backwards. The two looked at each other hundreds of meters apart, but they were not at peace inside. Especially Uchiha Setsuna, staring into each other's eyes. Mangekyō Sharingan. You actually used Mangekyō Sharingan. How is this possible? This is unique to our clan. Even if you are lucky enough to transplant someone else's Mangekyō, you will never win Susanoo. Is it Orochimaru? He helped you. Nagato said very solemnly. Yes, you are very smart, but I have to correct you. These Sharingan are not transplanted, but cloned. Even though they are cloned, these eyes are enough for me. Although I can't use Susanoo like you, but under the guidance of my teacher, I think that my strength is no weaker than yours. Okay, I don't believe it. How can you win my authentic Mangekyō Sharingan with just a cloned eye? Plus this space ninjutsu, let me see how you deal with it. Susanoo. God kill sword slash. Uchiha laughed evilly for a moment. His eyes were filled with the desire to fight, and chakra surged throughout his body. Half-body Susanoo kept raising her swords and adding time and space ninjutsu on them, causing the space to become faintly distorted. Well done. Ninja technique. 10,000 swords returned to the sect. Nagato's eyes were slightly focused, not daring to show any signs of neglect. After all, he lost Rinnegan, and his strength actually dropped a lot relatively speaking. Although he was very confident that he would not lose to the opponent's Mangekyō Sharingan was the original version after all, and his clone version was indeed weaker. But he always believed, what is powerful is not the technique or the Sharingan, but the individual. Chapter 230 Our Shao organization can fight in groups and never fight alone. Advertisement. Then, he decisively used his strongest killing move. He was seen rising into the air on the soles of his feet. This was not flying using Rinnegan's repulsion. Instead, he learned the teacher's, Earth-style ultra-light heavy rock technique. He was constantly rising into the air, and thousands of metal flying swords were constantly entangled around him. These flying swords seemed to be dancing. Not to mention the power. At least it was full of force, with a large number of flying swords sweeping across it. The moment Nagato dropped his sword finger with one hand, thousands of flying swords collided with Susanoo's blade. Tisk, tisk, tisk. However, the collision did not produce much vibration. Instead, it was erased by the space-time ninjutsu that erupted on the chakra blade, and flying swords kept falling into it one after another. But, Nagato's chakra is abundant. He continued to mobilize Mangekyō, controlling more flying swords to stab continuously. Uchiha Setsuna also continued to burst out, God kill, to eliminate countless flying swords, and the two fell into a stalemate. Competing with chakra, Nagato controlled tens of thousands of flying swords and began to speak slowly. Although I don't think you can have more chakra than me, but the teacher taught me. When you can fight in a group, never fight alone. So this time, you still lose. Obito, do it, coming. What? Uchiha's expression suddenly changed. Before he could react, he saw the space in front of him become distorted. Obito suddenly appeared in the sky between them, and at the same time his eyes suddenly focused, Kamui's power completely exploded. Kamui. The words just fell. Space is twisted in reverse. Directly offset the space power on the opponent's chakra blade. Without the blessing of time and space ninjutsu, Nagato suddenly shouted loudly, and tens of thousands of flying swords around him began to gather together. Ninja technique human sword fusion. Nagato raised his fingers to the sky. Chakra swept up again, and the sword blades continued to gather. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a huge sword that reached the sky, even longer than half Susanoo's body. Nagato transformed into a flying sword. It landed directly on Susanoo's crystal shield. Click. The crystal shield shattered, but Susanoo's defense isn't bad either. Even the weakest part still consumes a lot. Advertisement. At the same time that the Qingtian flying sword shattered, Nagato appeared, holding a long sword and instantly pierced a bloody hole in Uchiha. Puff. Uchiha instantly vomited blood. His whole expression became sluggish, even though the injury looked serious. But in fact, as long as he is not cut off at the waist, the Hashirama cells in his body will soon recover, but he has no intention of fighting anymore. Because he has already lost. And now there was another Obito, which made it even more difficult for him to take action. The two boys in front of him have grown up a lot and are no longer what they were back then, and Uchiha couldn't help but smile bitterly. You don't talk about martial arts. You clearly agreed to fight in a one-on-one fight. Huh, did you hear it wrong? I didn't say I would challenge you to a duel. Our Akatsuki organization is all about group fights. Single-on-one combat does not exist. Nagato said cheekily. Quote. Uchiha was speechless for a moment. After seeing each other give up, Obito and Nagato looked at each other. He directly teamed up with Shie to kill Luo Sha, while Shie's expression was slightly complicated and unnatural. Thank you, Chief. Actually, I can handle it. You're welcome, we're all our own people. Nagato patted his shoulder, and Scorpion also lowered his head and stopped being pretentious. In fact, when he first heard that Nagato's teacher was his enemy Uchiha Kagami, his first thought was revenge. After all, the other party killed his grandmother, and his parents also died at the hands of Hitaki Tsukumo. But the leader was the one who took him in the first place. After defecting to Sunagaku, he got a decent job with pretty good benefits. This made him unable to face the leader directly and he didn't know what to do. But the thoughtful Yahiko soon discovered the abnormality of the other party, so after understanding it, he proposed to the teacher a plan to resurrect the other party's parents and Chio's mother-in-law, and Uchiha Kagami also happily agreed. Only, resurrection will come after the war. Scorpion also agreed with the other party's statement, so he put down his hatred. No, it can't be said to be completely given up. After all, being resurrected does not mean that he has never died. For anyone, such pain cannot be given up by resurrection. If it were another enemy, he would definitely not be willing to give up. But that person is the number one in the ninja world. What can I do? They don't care about past grudges at all and are willing to resurrect your family. If you show shamelessness, you will have to bear the consequences. Then, he let go of his hatred. And as the battle came to an end, they were carrying the half-dead Luo Sha. Arriving in front of Gaara, Nagato squatted down, hesitated for a moment and said, we want Shukaku in your body. I wonder if that's okay. Of course it won't endanger your life. Absolutely, but I have a request. Gaara said. Nagato frowned. You said. Gaara pointed at the half-dead Rasa and said with a cold expression, I will kill my useless father. As long as you let me kill it, I can give Shukaku to you for free. Nagato. Obito. Chapter 231. A loving father and a filial son, the death of 4th Kazekage Luasha. Advertisement. Nagato asked uncertainly. Are you sure? Luo Sha is also your father after all. Do you want to kill him with your own hands? Yes, the other one is it, not him. Gaara corrected. I never understood why I was born a monster, why I was born to be unloved by others, and why I always had to be assassinated by others. I don't understand, but now I understand that the cause and effect of everything was caused by my father. He made me become a monster, made me become one-tailed Jinchuriki, and he made me become a monster. I am hated by everyone, including my uncle who I thought loved me, but he just obeyed my father's orders. He planned to assassinate me 6 times. Can such a person be called a father? Okay, you're right. Nagato and Obito looked at each other. I couldn't help but feel very speechless towards Luo Sha. They had long heard that Uchiha Kagami said that Luo Sha was not a human being, but they did not expect that he would be so inappropriate and use his own son as a weapon. And, in order for Gaara to control the tailed beast, he actually assassinated his biological son again and again, leaving Gaara in a state of doubting himself. He called it for the village, to control Shukaku. This was simply too outrageous. Such people are simply worse than beasts. Then I'll leave it to you to kill. Nagato nodded. Thanks. Gaara stepped forward. The palm of his hand was slowly raised, and wisps of fine sand emerged. The pale-faced Luo Sha looked at Gaara in front of her, as if she wanted to use family affection to stop him, and her tone became tactful. Gaara, I admit that I am not a qualified father, but everything I do is to let you master Shukaku's power as soon as possible. As the Kazekage, I want to protect the village. What's wrong with me? No one wants their son to become a monster, but I just don't have enough fame as Jonin Kazekage, so I have to do something. If even the Kazekage's son can become a Jinchuriki, then I will protect the village better. Why don't you understand my good intentions? Hee. To put it bluntly, it's all for yourself. What a selfish guy. Gaara sneered. If you really don't want future generations to suffer, why not just become a Jinchuriki yourself? How is this possible? Luo Sha argued. As the leader of the village, Kazekage, if Shukaku loses control, then the village will also suffer. And you are still young. My power is enough to suppress you. Besides, even if I become one-tail Jinchuriki, if a war breaks out, I will be regarded as a thorn in the side of other villages. It doesn't matter if I die by then, but if Shukaku is lost, I will be a sinner for the ages. Advertisement. Hehe. Gaara didn't wait to speak. Obito looked on with disdain. The fourth Hokage of our village is Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. It's not a big deal so far. Besides, do you really think that in order to become a perfect Jinchuriki, you need to constantly stimulate Jinchuriki's emotions? Bullshit. You will only make the Jinchuriki more unstable. The only way to become a perfect Jinchuriki is to become friends with the tailed beasts. Rasa, you are ignorant and selfish. When Uncle Jing commented that you were worthless, I naively thought that as the shadow of a village, I should be more or less extraordinary, but now it seems, you are really a waste. Shut up, you little boy, what qualifications do you have to speak against me? I am the fourth Cage. No one can blame me. The condition for becoming a perfect Jinchuriki is to be friends with a tailed beast. Ha ha ha, how can a monster like a tailed beast be friends with a human? Impossible. What a ridiculous idea. Luasha. Shut up, sandbound coffin. Gaara couldn't listen anymore. He clenched his right hand decisively and covered it with sand. The sand not only enveloped his whole body, but also poured into his throat, clenching his fingers tightly. Poof. Luo Sha was crushed to death. The huge pressure caused Luo Sha, who was originally seriously injured, to die. The fourth Cage fell like this, and his death was tragic, but Nagato and Obito had no sympathy at all. And Gaara looked at Luasha's body. He was silent and seemed to be thinking about something. Gaara, are you okay? Are you sad? I understand you. After all, he is your father. Nagato was about to open his mouth to comfort. I saw Gaara burst out laughing. No, I'm so happy. Killing my good-for-nothing father has made my life easier. Thank you too for helping me. Well, Nagato and Obito were stunned. This is so filial, as expected of you. After Gaara finished laughing, she turned and looked at them. Now, can I take away the Shukaku inside me? Chapter 232 The Powerful Uchiha Madara, why don't you make a bet? Advertisement. Then I'll take you back to Konoha. Nagato and Obito looked at each other. Gaara is a Jinchuriki after all, not a wild-tailed beast. Therefore, it needs to be brought back to Uchiha Kagami and Shukaku should be stripped out of his body, but the efficiency will definitely be much faster than Phantom Dragon 9 ceilings. However, Obito was about to carry Gaara away. Suddenly, the space in front of him became distorted again. I saw Uchiha launching the time and space ninjutsu again, accompanied by the distortion of space. An arrogant man wearing red armor with long black hair blowing in the wind stood in front of them. Nagato, Obito, I haven't seen you for many years. You two brats have grown up a lot. Uchiha Madara. Nagato and Obito's pupils suddenly tightened. Obito protected Gaara behind him, his eyes extremely fearful and wary. They thought that before the war started, Uchiha Madara would not end up personally, but now he actually broke everyone's default rules. Uchiha Madara looked joking. What? Do you think that if the fourth ninja war doesn't break out, I won't take action? In fact, I really won't break my principles, but you took action first. I will not let Uchiha Kagami become the 10 tails Jinchuriki first. I blame Uchiha Kagami for overestimating his capabilities. He targeted Shukaku in advance. He clearly only has one Rinnegan, but he didn't want to waste time. It's really puzzling. It seems that he has also lost his mind. Uchiha Madara, I will not hand Shukaku over to you. Even if Nagato and I die here, I will never let you succeed. Obito said firmly. Really? Then I'll ask you two to die. Fire style extinguish the fire. Uchiha Madara smiled arrogantly, decisively mobilized the chakra to emit a large amount of fire. The flames were like a sea of fire, even several times larger than before. Nagato and Obito used fire style to counter the wave, but found that the chakra was consumed very quickly, and they could not maintain a stalemate at all. Kamui. Then, Obito's pupils suddenly focused. He tried to use Kamui to directly break Uchiha Madara's neck. But, Uchiha Setsuna was already on guard. Mangekyō's eyes flowed, directly canceling out Kamui. Kamui, time and space ninjutsu is indeed a bit of a threat, so I'll kill you first. Wheel's Tomb Border Prison. Uchiha Madara sneered. In order to guard against Uchiha Kagami's intervention, he did not hide his clumsiness at all. His eyes skipped over Mangekyō, transforming into a swirling Rinnegan, and the Rinnegan clone dashed out in an instant. Chua. Then he came to Obito. Advertisement. But Obito had no premonition at all. His neck was directly grabbed by the Loon Tomb clone, unable to move at all. Where did the attack come from? You actually left me completely defenseless, damn it. Kamui. Obito looked horrified. He was about to cast Kamui and hollow his body. But the next second, the Loon Tomb clone smiled calmly and uttered a few words. Chakra devour. I saw a surging suction force bursting out. He sucked all the chakra out of Obito's body. Without the chakra, his Mangekyō automatically returned to black, making him unable to use Kamui at all. Obito, you betrayed me. I originally didn't want to argue with you, but my plan can't be disrupted by anyone, so I can only let you die. Uchiha Madara picked up a katana on the ground. Walking straight towards him step by step, Nagato's expression suddenly changed, and the clone Mangekyō used his own unique skill. Don't even think about killing him. Ninja technique human sword fusion. Phew. Whoosh. One after another flying swords floated into the air. It turned into a giant sword that held up the sky, but the second Lune Tomb clone appeared. Directly cast the complete Susanoo, which is hundreds of meters tall and holds a huge blade. Poof! The knife fell casually. Then he chopped the giant into pieces. It almost made Nagato cut him off in the middle, blood spurted out, and he didn't know whether he was alive or dead. How dare a firefly compete with the bright moon? A mere clone of Mangekyō is just a fake after all. Nagato, I'll deal with you later. Obito, no one can save you this time. Uchiha Madara looked calm. Holding a katana in hand, one has to pierce the opponent with one blow. But, the next second, a sudden change occurred. A red light flashed, and someone stood in front of Obito. He held the blade with one hand, and no matter how the blade moved forward, it could not break his hand. Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Kagami chuckled and said, "It's just a shukaku. I asked Nagato to catch it. How can you become uneasy so quickly? Aren't you calmer?" A confident smile appeared on Uchiha Madara's face. "You are worried that I will surpass you, so you want to be one step ahead of me. But you may have miscalculated this time, Uchiha Kagami. This time, you have no chance of winning anyway. Because, I also learned Infinite Immortal Technique." Uchiha Kagami chuckled. "Really? But I unfortunately tell you that even if you learn the immeasurable magic, you can't beat me." Madara shook her head. "Impossible." Jing smiled. "How about, let's make a bet." Chapter 233 Fierce Battle. Sage Art Susanoo become a Buddha on the top. Advertisement. Uchiha Madara showed a nostalgic look. Haha. Why do you like gambling just like Hashirama? It's just, that fool always loses every time he gambles. Are you sure you want to gamble? It's true. I learned it from my elder brother. How about it? Do you dare to bet? Uchiha Kagami said. What are you afraid of? I bet I will win. Then I bet that I lose. Okay, wait, is this something wrong? Uchiha Madara frowned. I bet that I win, should you also bet that you win? How can you bet yourself that you lose? I'm sorry, because like my elder brother, I always lose when I bet, so I bet on the other side and I lose. Maybe I will win, Uchiha Kagami said with a smile. You are really a logic genius. What about the bet? The bet is simple, whoever wins becomes 10 tails Jinchuriki first. Good boy, come on, Uchiha Madara's eyes flashed. The two of them started fighting on the spot, using all their strength as soon as they struck. Grave of Wheels Border Prison Susanoo. Grave of Wheels Border Prison Susanoo. Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Kagami shouted at the same time. The two of them and Chakra, the clone of the Wheel Tomb, rose into the sky at the same time. Boom. Karasu Tengu armor covered. The perfect Susanoo stands tall. Giants hundreds of meters tall were constantly clashing with each other with samurai swords in hand. Clang. Dang. 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 The attack range of the two is too large. Within seconds, Sunagakur was raised to the ground. This time they did not move to the sea. Uchiha Madara naturally didn't care about the life and death of others, and Uchiha Kagami didn't care much about where to fight since he mastered the Rinne Tensai technique, without side effects. What's the big deal about resurrecting him afterward? Susanoo Tengai Shinsei. Susanoo Super Heavy Rock Tengai Shinsei. Uchiha Madara shouted. Uchiha Kagami was not to be outdone and used Tengai Shinsei at the same time. But he used the Super Heavy Rock technique on the meteorite, and the weight of the meteorite suddenly increased several times. However, the double Rinnegan Madara summoned 10 huge meteorites at once, compared to the 2 meteorites in the mirror. Gaining numerical superiority, the ground trembled. Boom, boom, the earth shattered, and countless smoke and dust flew everywhere. A trace of blood spilled from the corner of Uchiha Kagami's mouth, but Uchiha Madara was unharmed. Looking at Uchiha Kagami, she couldn't help but admire. Used Onoki's technique to increase the weight of the meteorite. Uchiha Kagami, you are such a wonderful person. You have thought of such a clever combination. The trick you just made was much stronger than last time. It's a pity that you met me. Advertisement. You are just a Rinnegan, you are no match for me. Not always. Wheels Tomb Border Prison. Uchiha Kagami chuckled. The second eye turned into a vortex. With the blessing of the double Rinnegan, the second Wheel Tomb clone appeared. Before reaching the 6 paths level, 2 Wheel Tomb clones were already the limit, but this was enough to widen the gap. Eyes. You actually have both eyes. Uchiha Madara's pupils tightened, but he looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. Ha ha ha. It's really beyond my expectation, Uchiha Kagami. Senju Hashirama has never pleased me, you are the strongest opponent I have ever fought. Come on, let's see who is the best in the ninja world. Good. Infinite Immortal Technique. Open. Infinite Immortal Technique. Open. They both shouted loudly at the same time. Chakra sweeps up all over the body, and a large amount of natural energy gathers. Immediately, fairy facial makeup appeared on their faces, their eyes had bright eyeshadow, and their foreheads had lines of the sun and the moon intersecting. Sage Art Wood Style Dancing Dragons. Sage Art Wood Style Bailong Resonance. The two performed wood style at the same time. This is the wood style blessed by the strongest magic, and its power and scale are naturally extraordinary. A large number of trees sprouted from the ground, turning the desert into a forest. The forest instantly transformed into hundreds of giant wooden dragons. Click, click, click. In a blink, the wooden dragons bit each other and turned into sawdust. But this was just a test. After the test, the two of them no longer hid their clumsiness. The two of them planned to directly decide the outcome with the last move, their eyes were filled with fighting spirit, and the two of them became more and more courageous as they fought at this moment. Come on, Uchiha Kagami, one last move to decide the outcome. Come on, Murata, come on, Kagami, Sage Art Susanoo become a Buddha on the top. Sage Art Susanoo become a Buddha on the top. The two roared angrily. At the same time, he clapped his hands together. No matter what you shouted, the moment chakra exploded, the ground shook violently. A Senju Buddha statue that surpassed the peak of Hashirama stood up, but it was not over yet, completely covered in layers of Susanoo's armor. The scale is over 1,000 meters, not even smaller than the size of 10 tails on Earth. It gives people a great visual impact. Chapter 234. The snipe and the clam fight over each other, the fisherman wins, see Shion sneak attacks on Madara. Advertisement. Boom, boom, boom. No nonsense, Senju Buddha statues kept coming out. One after another, thousands of fists fell, making the entire continent tremble. This time, not only Sunagaku, but also the entire kingdom of wind was almost affected and became devastated. Until the aftermath gradually ends. Obito, Nagato, Setsuna and others emerged from another space. After learning about the outbreak of the war, even Hashirama, Tobirama, Minato, Orochimaru, Shisui, and the controlled Three-Tails Jinchuriki who were staying in Konoha also came. They looked at the completely transformed continent in front of them, and they were all stunned. FK, 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 why are there so many trees? Isn't this originally a desert? Even the entire land has been deformed. I'm such a good boy. I'm so strong. As expected of Uncle Jing. As expected of a teacher. As expected of my third brother. As expected of Madara-sama. Quote. Just when everyone was amazed, two broken figures appeared. The red armor on both men's bodies was all shattered, leaving only their black pants, shirtless but not dead. The injuries looked serious, but to them, recovery was only a matter of time, but for the last confrontation, it was clear that Uchiha Kagami won. Because Uchiha Kagami stood up, it looked much more relaxed than him, but he couldn't stand up for the time being. At least he couldn't move on his own without anyone to help him, but Uchiha came over in an instant and helped Madara-sama up, and the latter looked sad. I actually lost again. Uchiha Kagami, you and I are both double Rinnegan, and the last move is the same, so why did you win? How should I say? Because I am more fleshy. Uchiha Kagami said awkwardly. What's the meaning? It means that everyone's damage is about the same, but you are too fragile. At least until you become 6 paths, your physical strength cannot compare to mine. Uchiha Kagami said with indifferent eyes. The elder brother's physical body is considered to be the best in the ninja world, but he only has abundant vitality. The strength of his own physical body is not very high, if he loses the ability to heal himself. Even if my eldest brother is stabbed in the waist by a kunai, he will die, but I am different. Advertisement. My body is not only full of vitality, but also very strong in defense. Over the years, I have continuously used lightning style to temper my body. In the end, even lightning style was not enough. I chose Tianlei, which allowed me to have such a body. So it's not that you are weak, but that I am too strong. Yeah, Uchiha Madara looked at him with a strange look on his face, but people have their limits. Even the nintaijutsu of Cloud Shinobi village, actually has not improved much. You seem to have exceeded the limits that people should have. How did you do it? Also, White Snake Sage said that except for the reincarnations of Indra and Ashura, it is almost impossible for others to awaken the Rinnegan in this ninja world, but you did it. Why is that? I'm ADK. Quote question mark. What do you mean? Madara wondered. I can't explain it to you at the moment, at least, not yet. Now back to the subject, I won. Then it's my turn to become 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Okay, then you come. I keep my word. Who? Uchiha Madara hasn't finished speaking yet. There was a strange sound coming from behind. Shie. His limbs were penetrated by black iron rods. Forcibly pinning him to the ground, Uchiha Madara was seriously injured and chakra was depleted, so he had no time to react. I saw a monk with an indifferent expression, looking down at him. Uchiha Madara, haha, you are just inferior creatures. But you two do make me a little afraid. If you become 10 Tails Jinchuriki, I may not be able to defeat you. Who are you? Madara looked cold. I am Ji Shion, of course you can call me Otsutsuki Ashiki. Otsutsuki. Uchiha Madara looked puzzled. He only knows the Sage of 6 Paths, not the Otsutsuki. Seeing Uchiha Madara's surprise, the other party didn't mean to explain at all. He turned to look at Uchiha Kagami, with a hint of joking and anger on his lips. Uchiha Kagami, stole my 10 tails. Do you really think I will give up on revenge? Now you two are seriously injured, now I want to get my 10 tails back. Uchiha Kagami, hand over the 10 tails and I can spare your life. Sorry, 10 tails is already in my belly. What? He couldn't hold himself any longer. When I think of what the other person did to me before. See Shion suppressed his temper and his expression became cold. Don't play tricks on me. You can eat 10 tails and spit it out. 10 tails larva will not improve you much. Uchiha Kagami, hand over 10 tails or I will let this planet be buried with you. Chapter 235 The Young Man Vagana. The extremely shocked See Shion. Advertisement. Sixian, I don't understand, what makes you so confident? Uchiha Kagami looked sarcastic and said, Do you really think I didn't guard against you at all? And who of you saw that I was seriously injured in victory or defeat? Everything today was in my plan, including you. Otsutsuki Ichiki, I allowed you to escape by chance last time, but this time I will let you die here no matter what to avoid future troubles. Summoning technique. Whoop. Uchiha Kagami raised his hand and pressed it. Smoke billowed out, and a giant 10 tails appeared out of thin air. Not the earth one, but 10 tails that were all white, but extremely huge. Even, compared with the body shape of 10 tails, the perfect body of the earth. When Shion saw this scene, he was stunned. How is that possible? Complete 10 tails. Where did you come from? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. That 10 tails is just a juvenile 10 tails that I brought from somewhere else. Without sacrifice, the Otsutsuki clan, it is impossible to become a complete body, and it is absolutely impossible to cultivate a sacred tree. Haha. Of course I know. Uchiha Kagami smiled jokingly. But you, the Otsutsuki clan, are not just you. I originally wanted to compete with Uchiha Madara for the 9-tailed beasts on the earth, but after thinking about it, I felt that I was missing a move. Why don't you just go to the universe to find other Otsutsuki clan? Guess who I met? Otsutsuki Momoshiki and Otsutsuki Goldshiki. I directly sacrificed them all to 10 tails and let him grow into a complete body. Now, this 10 tails is my 10 tails. Not yours. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. What are you talking about? You sacrificed Momoshiki and Jinshiki. Shion's eyes widened and he gritted his teeth and retorted, impossible. That guy Momoshi has eaten the fruit of the sacred tree, unlike me. He has Rinnegan, and there are more than one. How can you defeat him and Jinshi? I really can't win against two people. Even if I transformed into 6 paths as a larva of 10 tails, I couldn't do it. Uchiha Kagami chuckled. I didn't think about dealing with them at first, but I have a good second brother who is good at resourcefulness. He said that defeating the enemy does not necessarily require force, sometimes a little strategy is needed. Momoshiki is naturally very strong for me. I'm not sure I can beat him, but Jinshiki is very weak. I followed the second brother's plan, and quietly placed the projection of your altar on the path they must pass. Including the news that you are not dead. In order to make Momoshi be fooled, I even said that you plan to wait for Mushi to come and sacrifice him to your sacred tree fruit, and the earth fruit as a tribute, you can eat one for yourself. Taoshi and you are not on good terms. With my inducement, he rushed over immediately. As his servant, Jinshi was naturally left behind, and I defeated Jinshi and sacrificed him. Sacrificed to the 10 tails larva. Hole. You actually alienated us. Shion was furious. What kind of estrangement is this? Aren't you two already at odds? I just modified it a little bit. Advertisement. Haha, I have to say. Uchiha Kagami smiled slightly. Just Jinshiki alone allowed 10 tails to grow into a complete 10 tails that was no weaker than the earth. Then I transformed into 10 tails Jinchuriki, defeated Momoshiki and sacrificed him to 10 tails. Now I can no longer be regarded as a 10 tails Jinchuriki, but a real Otsutsuki mirror. Let me die. Otsutsuki 1 style. 6 paths 10 tails. Uchiha Kagami shouted lowly. The white 10 tails under his feet kept roaring. They continued to gather together and turned into a white sphere. Click. The sphere shattered, turned into feathers. Uchiha Kagami's whole body has completely changed. Wearing a white feathery coat, Windless Automatic has 2 single horns on its head. Revealing the symbol of his current Otsutsuki, he now not only fused with 10 tails, but also swallowed the power of the sacred tree. Kagaya originally sacrificed half of the Otsutsuki. The fruit of the sacred tree was cultivated by devouring the energy of the earth. And he just skipped this process and forcefully swallowed 2 whole Otsutsuki, which almost pushed him past Kagaya's peak. You guy. Wedge stake 2 on. Shion is like facing a powerful enemy. Decisively activated the strongest posture of non-Otsutsuki. Wei's black lines are all over the body, and a single horn appears on the top of his head. Young Vagana. Shion decisively shrank her body. At an extremely fast speed, he approaches the opponent and attempts a sneak attack. But, Uchiha Kagami raised his hand and waved it. The truth-seeking ball behind him turned into black claws. Shion was directly pinched in it. Shion continued to explode with strength and was unable to break free. He could only use time and space ninjutsu to leave. Chapter 236 Otsutsuki is resurrected in one move. Divine Magic Mahakala. Advertisement. But, he just emerged from the black hole. The space in front of him also suddenly split open. Uchiha Kagami directly blocked his way with Hirazaka Yomi. 6 paths Amanuma Spear. There is no thought of mercy. He raised his right hand, and the truth-seeking ball continued to expand and contract. It turned into a huge DNA sword and slashed towards the opponent's body. Dakala. Everything falls again. Between Shion and Ferocious. The strongest Mahakala was cast. A large number of huge black boxes keep appearing. They collided hard with the Amanuma Spear sword, but those indestructible black boxes met their nemesis. Click, click, click. The moment they made contact, they were penetrated by the amazing spear. It turned into a large number of fragments, and Shion was directly pierced through the body. Puff. He vomited blood. The whole person fell to the ground. The remaining power of the swamp spear that day was still destroying his body. You forced me, Uchiha Kagami. You forced me to do this. This time I want to be resurrected for real, and I want to kill you. Si Xian roared angrily. With Si Xian's complete death. Si Xian's soul information was completely integrated with Wei. Wearing a white dress dyed red, he looked very elegant, and the aura of his whole body continued to surge. The white eyes on the left eye and the golden eyes on the right exude boundless pressure. This moment, Otsutsuki is completely resurrected in one move. Although it is only resurrected from an incomplete vessel. The lifespan is very short, but this is already a true Otsutsuki style, no longer the incomplete state before. Uchiha Kagami, d me off. You are just like the original Teru Yoruichi, just an inferior creature. I will make you pay a painful price. Divinity Mahakala Optimus Prime, Otsutsuki points one finger to the sky. The power of the divine magic Mahakala continues to explode. I saw a huge black pillar falling out of the air. This pillar was like holding up the sky, even exceeding 1,000 meters in size. Little tricks. 120 divine air strikes. Uchiha Kagami is not timid at all. Directly cast a technique stronger than Kagai's. He raised his fist and punched 12 times in an instant. Advertisement. Boom, boom, boom. Continuous explosions. The Black Optimus Prime continued to shatter. Just 5 punches destroyed all the pillars, and the remaining fists fell on the opponent, and the power exploded instantly. Puff. Otsutsuki vomited blood, half of his body was smashed, and he was almost in a state of death. He fell heavily to the ground. Uchiha Kagami stepped forward with a hint of sarcasm on his face. It's too weak. How strong do you think it is? At your level, you still want to punish Otsutsuki Kagaya. Uchiha Kagami, just wait for me. Otsutsuki wiped away the blood from the corner of his mouth. Just when he was about to use the magic, Sheoming Kunguna, to shrink himself, he left here to find his suitable weapon, to prepare for his next resurrection. But, as the 2 black sticks transformed into truth-seeking balls fell, it directly pinned half of Otsutsuki's body to the ground in one move, and the power of this truth-seeking ball came from the mirror that swallowed 2 Otsutsuki. The power of the confinement can naturally be imagined, and Otsutsuki's one move could not escape at all. Damn it, what on earth are you going to do? Now that you have won, why don't you just kill me? Don't make any noise, let's watch the show. Uchiha Kagami smiled. Quote. And not far away, Madara, who was originally imprisoned, regained her freedom. Seeing Kamui, the 6 paths level mirror show just now, I couldn't help but feel a little complicated, and my tone gradually became lowered. Are you waiting for me to become 6 paths? Although I don't understand what you just said, your 10 tails seem to be stronger than those on Earth. Even if I become 6 paths, how can I defeat you? Not that he was crestfallen. But the strength of that person just now was indeed terrifying. Even though he had just made a sneak attack, he could feel that the other party was not immortal. At least he couldn't defeat him until he himself became 10 Tails Jinchuriki, but the mirror that was one step ahead of him easily defeated this powerful enemy who called himself Otsutsuki Ashiki, which made him feel the gap for the first time. Madara, is this decadent? Uchiha Kagami deliberately provoked. Have you forgotten your dream? Infinite Tsukuyomi, the step closest to your dream is now, don't you plan to explore it? And the Otsutsuki clan, are all related to you. Even if you can't beat me, shouldn't you give it a try? Yes, Madara-sama. Black Zetsu emerged from the ground, a little unable to sit still. Now that we have reached the last step, how can we give up? Uchiha Kagami's Rinnegan may not be more advanced than yours, and he feels that he can't escape Infinite Tsukuyomi. Really? Then you really should give it a try. Uchiha Madara didn't notice Black Zetsu's anxious mood. And he was well prepared this time, and asked Setsuna to gather all the tailed beasts from the major ninja villages in advance, and Kagami also brought the tailed beasts. Now, just the last step, so Uchiha Madara summoned the Gedo statue. Directly swallowing the 9-tailed beasts, the Gedo statue finished swallowing it and turned into a huge light brown 10 tails. Even 9 tails. Compared to 10 tails, it's not even the size of a cat. But it was still no match for the 10 tails in the mirror. Uchiha Madara took a deep breath and chanted silently while forming seals with his hands. It's my turn to transform into 10 tails Jinchuriki. For my dream, no matter whether I win or lose, I will compete with the mirror. 6 Paths 10 Tails. Chapter 237 Infinite Tsukuyomi. Fight against Otsutsuki together, final chapter. Advertisement. Tisk, tisk, tisk. The hazel 10 tails were constantly being breathed into him. Uchiha Madara's whole body is wrapped in white feathers, with a forehead protector with horns on top of his head. He also transforms into 6 paths. He raised his hand and pressed it, and the sacred tree rose from the ground. Madara-sama, cast Infinite Tsukuyomi quickly. Good. Uchiha Madara soars into the air. Opening his forehead protector, the scarlet reincarnation Sharingan emerged. Infinite Tsukuyomi. With a low drink, Rinnegan's shadow appeared on the moon. And above the eyeball-like moon, a strange woman seemed to appear, spreading the light of Infinite Tsukuyomi all over the world. Aha! The light shines brightly. Uchiha Kagami didn't need to resist. After all, his forehead can also activate the reincarnation Sharingan, and the level is no worse than that of Madara's forehead, but others cannot resist the light of Infinite Tsukuyomi. He cast full Susanoo. He spread his wings and protected Hashirama, the others, and Uchiha for a moment. The sacred tree enveloped everyone, but only Uchiha Kagami's Susanoo could not penetrate, which made Uchiha Madara look surprised. It seems, Uchiha Kagami's Rinnegan is no worse than me. But I still win. The infinite moon covers the whole world. As long as I win him, then the world will be peaceful. Uchiha Madara breathed a sigh of relief. Landing on the ground, Black Zetsu stood behind him. But what is unexpected is that the other party also protects Setsuna. After Setsuna dodged infinite Tsukuyomi, she stood respectfully behind Madara, seemingly looking extremely calm. Now, Uchiha Kagami, it's our turn to fight. Okay, but do you want to look behind you? What's the meaning? Uchiha Madara was stunned for a moment. I felt someone approaching. It was Black Zetsu. Uchiha Madara sensed something was wrong, but it seemed it was too late. Black Zetsu was about to take action. The next second, Uchiha stood in front of Madara in an instant. He directly used a human shield to let Black Zetsu's hand penetrate his body. Puff. Uchiha instantly vomited blood. His face turned pale instantly, but the corners of his mouth became more and more proud. Black Zetsu, it's you I'm waiting for. Damn it. Black Zetsu's expression changed, but he still insisted on explaining. What are you doing? I'm grooming Madara-sama, why are you stopping me? Grooming your body. Do you want to comb your waist? Do you really think Madara-sama and I are idiots? Uchiha sneered and said, you really think that no one knows your true identity? All you do is to resurrect the ancestor of chakra, your mother Otsutsuki Kagaya. You are not Madara-sama's will at all, I am. Where did you get that? Wait, it's that B************ D Uchiha Kagami. Black Zetsu's expression changed. Something suddenly occurred to him. Thinking of the previous confrontation between Setsuna and Uchiha Kagami, the two whispered something in secret. Advertisement. At first he didn't think so and didn't think the other party could drive a wedge between them, but now the other party found out and even made it impossible for him to resurrect his mother. Woohoo, Uchiha Kagami. Damn it, you deserve to die when you step on a horse. Black Zetsu felt desolate inside, feeling that his hope of resurrecting his mother was completely gone. After hearing this, Uchiha Madara's face darkened. Black Zetsu, what on earth do you mean? You just wanted to attack me. Aren't you my will? I haven't always been yours, never have been. Black Zetsu said hoarsely. I am the will of Otsutsuki Kagaya, and my existence is to resurrect Otsutsuki Kagaya. Otsutsuki one style, here comes another Otsutsuki Kagaya. What's going on? Uchiha Madara felt a little confused. Let me explain it to you. Madara, Senju Hashirama came out. Otsutsuki Kagaya and Otsutsuki Ashiki originally came from outer space. They wanted a 10-tails larva to plant the sacred tree, to eat the earth clean and cultivate the sacred tree fruit. But Otsutsuki Kagaya betrayed him and seriously injured him. After eating the fruit, she became the goddess of Uma in this world. Later, she was ordered to give birth to two children, one named Otsutsuki Hagoromo and the other named Otsutsuki Hamura. The former is the famous Sage of Six Paths, and both Uchiha and Senju are descendants of the Sage of Six Paths, and Kagaya rebelled against the tribe in order to prevent the Otsutsuki from invading the earth. She used the sacred tree to cultivate the White Zetsu army, but because Kagaya did not tell their sons, Otsutsuki Hagoromo and Otsutsuki Hamura filially defeated their mother and sealed her on the moon. It is the Gedo statue, and 10 tails was divided into 9 parts by Sage of Six Paths before his death, which is the 9-tailed beasts, and the so-called infinite Tsukuyomi of Black Zetsu is not to create an eternal dream, nor is it for peace. The stone tablets you saw were all modified by Black Zetsu. All he did was to resurrect Otsutsuki Kagaya. You were just his pawn. Don't you wake up now. Black Zetsu, have you been playing tricks on me? Madara's face darkened. Yes, and you knew this all along. Yes, Senju Hashirama and others nodded. And with Jing's admission, many people knew the inside story. This made Uchiha Madara's heart twitch several times. At this moment, he felt like a clown who had been teased all his life. What's the point of me fighting you? Uchiha Madara's eyes were bitter. It turns out that my ideal, everything about me is controlled by others. I think I am no weaker than anyone. I, Uchiha Madara, wanted to create an ideal world, but was plotted against me. In the end, the enemy will help you, otherwise I might not have been able to save my life just now, right? Uchiha Kagami, my life has been a failure. For example, let Black Zetsu resurrect Kagaya, and you and him will protect the ninja world. No, Madara, you are not a failure. Uchiha Kagami shook his head and said very sincerely, actually, you are stronger than anyone else, including me and my eldest brother. In fact, my source is because I got rid of my fate, which is not my true power. And you have struggled all your life and achieved unprecedented achievements. No one can match it. Black Zetsu is only better because he is older than you. He preconception makes you think that he is your will. If he were of the same generation as you, Black Zetsu wouldn't even be worthy of carrying your shoes. Now that our misunderstanding has been resolved, the threat of the Otsutsuki clan is still there. I hope to unite you, Kagaya, and all the forces in the ninja world. Together we will defend the honor and life of the ninja world. Are you willing to be with me? Of course, but where is Kagaya? Doesn't Kagaya need to be resurrected by me? Doesn't that mean that only one person can be left? Uchiha Madara wondered. No, if I could only keep one before, I don't need it now. Uchiha Kagami pointed at the half-broken Otsutsuki Ichi. The 10 tails fused with the 9-tailed beasts in your body is Kagaya, and half of his body is sacrificed to another 10 tails larva, and you devour it again. I can become the third Otsutsuki again. But, if I break away from 10 tails, I will die. It doesn't matter, I'm a loser, I can resurrect you. Ah, can you do this? Of course. Because I'm ADK. Uchiha Kagami chuckled. He directly resurrected Black Zetsu Otsutsuki Kagaya. Then he directly resurrected Madara with Rinne Tensai, and then he directly used Yin-Yang Escape to create the third Ten Tails larva from scratch. After swallowing Otsutsuki in one move, 3 Otsutsuki appeared. One is Otsutsuki Kagaya, the second is Otsutsuki Madara, and the third is Otsutsuki Mirror. And Kagaya is under his soft tongue. Coupled with the threat of force, Kagaya also understood that everyone was prosperous and suffered losses, so he joined the big family to fight against Otsutsuki.